Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quarantine Theater Company's read of The Social Network. This is a pretty awesome movie, and I'm excited to be reading it with all my friends here. They're all my social network friends, too. So let me quickly introduce everybody, and then we'll get right to it. It's going to be Paul as reading as Mark, Erik as Eduardo, Logan as Sean, Jennifer as Erica, Angi will be reading our scene description and also reading as Gretchen. I'll be reading as Cameron, and Bridget will be reading as Tyler, who will be the Winklevoss twins. George will be Dustin, and Travis will be reading as Chris and Gage, and all of us are reading as many others too. So keep a lookout for us. All right, and I'll go ahead and hand it over to Angi.
The Social Network, screenplay by Aaron Sorkin, based on the book The Accidental Billionaires by Ben Mesrich. From the Black, we hear.
Did you know there are more people with genius IQs living in China than there are people of any kind living in the United States?
That can't possibly be true.
It is.
What would account for that?
Well, first, an awful lot of people live in China. But here's my question.
Fade in. Interior campus bar, night. Mark Zuckerberg is a sweet-looking 19-year-old whose lack of any physically intimidating attributes masks a very complicated and dangerous anger. He has trouble making eye contact and sometimes is hard to tell if he's talking to you or to himself. Erica, also 19, is Mark's date. She has a girl next door face that makes her easy to fall for. At this point in the conversation, she already knows that she'd rather not be there, and her politeness is about to be tested. The scene is stark and simple.
How do you distinguish yourself in a population of people who all got 1600 on their SATs?
I didn't know they take SATs in China.
They don't. I wasn't talking about China anymore. I was talking about me.
You got 1600?
Yes. I could sing in an a cappella group, but I can't sing.
Does that mean that you actually got nothing wrong?
I can row crew or invent a $25 PC.
Or you can get into a final club.
Or I can get into a final club.
You know, from a woman's perspective, sometimes not singing in an a cappella group is a good thing.
This is serious.
On the other hand, I do like guys who row crew.
Well, I can't do that.
I was kidding.
Yes, it means I got nothing wrong on that test.
Have you ever tried?
I'm trying right now.
To row crew?
To get into a final club. To row crew? No, are you, whatever, delusional?
Maybe, but sometimes you say two things at once and I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to be aiming at.
But you've seen guys who row crew, right?
No.
Okay, well, they're bigger than me. They're world-class athletes. And a second ago, you said, guys who row crew, so I assumed you had met one.
I guess I just meant I like the idea of it, like the way a girl likes cowboys.
Okay.
Should we get something to eat?
Would you like to talk about something else?
No, it's just that since the beginning of the conversation about Finals Club, I think I may have missed a birthday. There are really more people in China with genius IQs than the entire population of this.
The Phoenix is the most diverse. The Fly Club, Roosevelt, Punch the Pork.
Which one?
The pork. The pork. It's the best of the best.
Which Roosevelt?
Theodore.
Is it true that they send a bus around to pick up girls who want to party with the next Fed chairman?
You can see why it's so important to get in.
Okay, well, which is the easiest to get into?
Mark is visibly hit by that.
Why would you ask me that?
I'm just asking.
None of them. That's the point. My friend Eduardo made $300,000 betting oil futures one summer, and Eduardo won't come close to getting in. The ability to make money doesn't impress anybody around here.
Must be nice. He made $300,000 in one summer?
He likes meteorology.
You said it wasn't oil futures.
You can read the weather, you can predict the price of heating oil. I think you asked me that because you think the final club that's easiest to get into is the one where I'll have the best chance.
I asked, what?
You asked me which one was the easiest to get into because you think that's the one where I'll have the best chance.
The one that's the easiest to get into would be the one where anybody has the best chance.
You didn't ask me which one was the best one. You asked me which one was the easiest one.
I was honestly just asking, okay? I was just asking to ask. I'm not speaking in code.
Erica.
You're obsessed with finals clubs. This is not the time to zoom in. You have finals club's OCD and you need to see someone about it who will prescribe you some sort of medication. You don't care if the side effects may include blindness.
Final clubs, not finals clubs. And there's a difference between being obsessed and being motivated.
Yes, there is.
Well, you do. That was cryptic. So you do speak in code.
I didn't mean to be cryptic.
I'm saying I need to do something substantial in order to get the attention of the clubs.
Why?
Because they're exclusive and fun, and they lead to a better life.
Teddy Roosevelt didn't get elected president because he was a member of the Phoenix Club.
He was a member of the pork, and yes, he did.
Well, why don't you just concentrate on being the best you can be?
Did you really just say that?
I was kidding. Although just because something's trite doesn't make it any less.
I just want to try to be straightforward with you and tell you what I think you might want to be a little bit more supportive. If I get in, I'll be taking you to the events and the gatherings, and you'll be meeting a lot of people you wouldn't normally get to meet.
You would do that for me?
Or dating.
Okay. Well, I want to try and be straightforward with you and let you know that we're not anymore.
What do you mean?
We're not dating anymore. I'm sorry.
Is this a joke?
No, it's not.
You're breaking up with me.
You're going to introduce me to people I wouldn't normally have the chance to meet? What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Wait, settle down.
What is it supposed to mean?
Erica, the reason we're able to sit here and drink right now is because you used to sleep with the door guy.
The door guy. His name is Bobby. I did not sleep with the door guy. The door guy is a friend of mine. He's a perfectly good class of people. And what part of Long Island are you from? Wimbledon?
Wait. A minute.
I'm going back to my dorm.
Wait. Is this real?
Yes.
Okay, then wait. I apologize. Okay?
I have to go study.
Erica,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean it.
I appreciate that, but I have to study.
Come on.
I have to study.
You don't have to study. You don't have to study. Let's just talk.
I can't.
Why?
Because it's exhausting. Dating you is like dating a stairmaster.
All I meant is that you're not likely to currently. I wasn't making a comment on your parents. I was just saying you go to be you. I was stating a fact. That's all. And if it seemed rude, then of course I apologize.
I have to go study.
You don't have to study.
Why do you keep saying I don't have to study?
Because you go to be you.
Erica stares at him.
Do you want me to get some food?
I'm sorry you're not sufficiently impressed with my education.
I'm sorry, I don't have a rowboat, so we're even.
I think we should just be friends.
I don't want friends.
I was being polite. I have no intention of being friends with you.
I'm under some pressure right now with my OS class, and if we could just order food, I think we should.
Erica takes Mark's hand and looks at him tenderly.
You are probably going to be a very successful computer person, but you're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
And with that stinger, Erica walks off. We slowly push in on Mark. A fuse has just been lit. Cut to exterior bar night, as Mark bursts out of the bar and into the population of Harvard Square. Cut to exterior Harvard Square night. As Mark continues on, he passes a group of people heading in the opposite direction for a party. As Mark's steady and determined stride continues, he'll pass by all kinds of seemingly happy, well-adjusted, socially adept people. The pulsing intro of a song crashes in that will take us to the following sequence. Cut to title, Harvard University, Fall 2003. Interior Kirkland House lobby night. As the music continues and Mark bursts into the lobby of his dorm, he doesn't look at anyone as he heads up the stairs, and we cut to interior Mark's dorm room night, a bedroom that's part of a 3-bedroom suite. The music continues as Mark walks in, flicks his laptop on without looking at it, and walks out of frame as we follow Mark to his little mini fridge where he pulls out a Beck's beer. Mark's fingers dance easily on the keyboard, just like a Juilliard pianist warming up. The website he's called up gets loaded into the screen. zuckonit.com. This is the only place he's comfortable. Title, 8:13 p.m. He begins blogging.
Erica Albright's a bitch. Do you think that's because her family changed their name from Albrecht, or do you think it's because all BU girls are bitches?
He takes a good gulp of his drink. We see the words we're hearing filling up his computer screen.
For the record, she may look like a 34C, but she's getting all kinds of help from our friends at Victoria's Secret. She's a 34B, as in barely anything there. False advertising.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. Title, 9:48 p.m.
The truth is, she has a nice face. I need to do something to help me take my mind off her. Easy enough, except I need an idea.
Mark takes out a keyboard for his desktop computer, takes a drink from his beer. Billy Olson walks into the room carrying a six-pack. He sits on the bed behind Mark and opens one for himself. Mark has moved his mouse to an icon on his desktop labeled Kirkland Facebook. He clicks and opens it. A menu of photos appear. He blogs again.
I'm a little intoxicated. I'm not gonna lie. So what if it's not even 10 p.m. and it's a Tuesday night? The Kirkland Facebook is open on my desktop, and some of these people have pretty horrendous Facebook pics. Billy Olson's sitting here and had the idea of putting some of these next to pictures of farm animals and have people vote on who's hotter.
Cut to interior, a bus, night. It resembles the kind of bus that would take you to a rental car place, but on board are 24 college girls who are dressed up for a party. Last minute makeup touch-ups are being done and a joint is being passed.
He's onto something.
Cut back to interior Mark's dorm room, night. Title, 10:17 p.m.
Yeah, it's on. I'm not going to do the farm animals, but I like the idea of comparing two people together. It gives the whole thing a very touring feel since people's ratings of the pictures.
To exterior final club night. A bouncer, a townie in a tuxedo and a headset, is manning the velvet rope that guards the thick wooden red double doors that lead to, believe it or not, one of the most exclusive clubs in the world. Four college girls are already waiting in line, but that number's about to grow as the bus pulls up and opens its doors.
Will be more implicit than, say, choosing a number to represent each person's hotness like they do on hotornot.com. The first thing we're going to need is a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, Harvard doesn't keep a public centralized Facebook, so I'm going to have to get all the images from the individual houses that people are in. Let the hacking begin.
Cut back to interior Mark's dorm room night. There are two more kids in the room with Mark, Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes.
First up is Kirkland. They keep everything open and allow indexes in their Apache configuration, so a little WGET magic is all that's necessary to download the entire Kirkland Facebook. Kid stuff.
On the computer screen, we've been seeing him download picture after picture of Harvard girls. Cut to exterior final club night. 3 co-eds are talking to the bouncer. The bouncer looks up at 2 handsome club members. The members give him the nod, and the 5 co-eds are let past the velvet rope. They're led up a half flight of red carpeted stairs to a party that's about a half an hour away from being in full swing. The club president is addressing the guests from the top of the stairs.
Excuse me, everybody. You are at one of the oldest, one of the most exclusive clubs, not just at Harvard, but in the world. And I want to welcome all of you to Phoenix Club's first party of the fall semester.
Cut back to interior Mark's dorm room night. Mark finishes another drink and gets back to his work. Title, 1:03 a.m.
Next is Elliot. They're also open with no indexes on Apache. I can run an empty search and it returns all of the images in the database in a single page. Then I can save the page and Mozilla will save all the images for me. Excellent. Moving right along.
Flying by at super speed on Mark's computer screen have been commands and images that the rest of us can't possibly understand. Cut to interior final club night. The best and brightest are checking out the hottest and easiest. We see a shot of uniformed female bartenders making a couple of drinks with the top shelf bottles, a DJ working the highest end equipment, and 20-year-old guys, some of whom look 15, in blazers, khakis, and club ties. Cut back to interior Mark's dorm room night.
Well, some security. They require a username password combo, and I'm going to go ahead and say they don't have access to main FAS user database, so they have no way of detecting an intrusion.
Interior final club night. It's on. Body shots, a couple making out in the corner. A matchbox gets slid open by perfectly manicured fingers that take out a few white pills. 2 girls are dancing with each other and move in to kiss. Mark's voiceovers are starting to overlap and cascade into each other.
Adams has no security, but limits the number of results to 28 pages. All I need to do is break out some same script used on Lowell, and we're set. Quincy has no online Facebook. What a sham. Nothing I can do about that.
Cut to Mark's dorm room night. Instructions and images fly across Mark's screen.
Dunster is intense. Not only is there no public directory, but there's no leverage is a little better. It's slightly obnoxious that they only let you view one picture at a time. I'm not about to, definitely necessary to break out the MC Emacs and modify that Perl script with.
Interior Kirkland House stairway night. Eduardo Saverin, a sweet-looking Brazilian sophomore wearing a three-piece suit, is rushing up the stairs 2 at a time. Title, 2:08 a.m.
Done.
Eduardo gets to the top of the stairs and hurries into Interior Mark's dorm room, continuous.
What's going on?
Perfect timing. Eduardo's here and he's going to have the key ingredients.
Mark,
Eduardo,
you and Erik are split up?
how did you know?
It's on your blog.
Yeah,
Are you all right?
I need you.
I'm here for you.
No, I need the algorithm you use to rank chess players.
Are you okay?
We're ranking girls.
You mean other students?
Yeah,
You think this is such a good idea?
I need the algorithm.
Mark,
I need the algorithm.
2. Interior Mark's dorm room night. Eduardo is writing an equation with a grease marker on the window. When the equation's done, it looks like this. Girl A, EA equals 1/1 plus 10, RB, RA over 400. Girl B, EB equals 1/1 plus 10, parentheses RA minus RB over 400.
okay, so give each girl a base rating of 1400. At any given time, girl A has a rating R minus A and girl B has a rating of R minus B.
When any two girls are matched up, there's an expectation of which will win based on their current rating, right?
Yes, and those expectations are expressed this way.
Let's write it.
Cut 2. Interior Final Club night. The 2 girls we just saw let in are now dancing on a table in their underwear. Cut back to Interior Mark's room night. Mark makes a few last keystrokes and the new website comes up on the screen. Face mash. Mark makes a few more keystrokes and 2 pictures of 2 Harvard girls come up on the screen. After a moment,
One on the
One on the
left.
left.
One on the left.
Mark clicks the girl on the left and another picture takes the place of the girl on the right.
On the right.
Right.
Mark clicks the girl on the right while another picture takes the place of the girl on the left.
Still
Still
right.
the
Still the
right.
right.
It works.
Hey, Dustin.
Who should we send it to first?
Dwyer,
Yo.
who are you gonna send it to?
Mark's made the link to email and hits send.
Just a couple of people. The question is, who are they going to send it to?
Cut 2. Interior Final Club night. We move to a room where there's a co-ed poker game underway with girls smoking cigars. A bra and a couple of pairs of stockings are out on the table. As we move through the poker room, we see a computer behind one of the players. The computer is indicating that there's an email. A player turns around and opens the email as the poker game and the party go on behind him. He hits a link and Face Mash opens. He looks at it, then
Hey, check this out.
Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night. 2 male students at a laptop.
The one on the left.
Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night. 3 male students at a computer.
On the right.
On the right.
Right.
Cut 2. Interior all night diner night. A bunch of students around a computer.
The right.
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 Cut 2. Interior final club night. Dozens of partiers are around the computer.
That's my roommate.
Cut 2. Interior cyber cafe night. A bunch of students around the computer.
This is pathetic.
Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night. A few students gathered at a computer.
On the
On the
left.
left.
Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night. Another computer.
On
On the right.
Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night. This time just a single student in his pajamas as he looks at 2 pictures of girls side by side. Cut 2. Interior another dorm room night and another single student voting. And cut to interior dorm room night. We should instantly know that this dorm room is different. It's more modern and with less character and history than the others. In the background, a girl is at a computer, and in the foreground, Erica is sitting in a bed taking notes from a textbook.
Oh shit, Albright. He blogged about you.
Erica looks at her for a moment, then gets up to look at her roommate's computer.
You don't want to read it.
Erica ignores her roommate. We see her mortification as she reads, and at that moment, 3 guys appear in her open doorway. They're baked and smiling as one of them is holding a bra.
Erica,
Erica looks over at the guys.
is this yours? I stole it from a trainee.
Get the hell out of here.
The 3 guys go on their drunken way as we slowly push in on Erica, who's frozen in her humiliation. Then cut to interior Harvard dorm room night.
The
Left.
left.
Interior coffee house night.
The right.
Right.
Interior dining hall night.
Left.
Left.
Interior girls dorm room night.
The right. Right.
Interior Mark's dorm room night. As a set of photos go flying on by his computer screen, Mark is staring at the chaos of the activity he's created in the middle of the night.
This is an awful lot of traffic. I think maybe we should shut it down before we get into trouble.
Mark ignores him as we pre-lap a phone ringing and cut to interior bedroom night. A man named Cox is asleep next to his wife. It's his phone that's ringing. Cox wakes up and answers it.
Hello? Wait, what? At 4 a.m?
Intercut with interior Harvard communications office, same time. A tired grad student who spends the night monitoring the campus computer system is looking at his computer.
Well, there's a very unusual amount of traffic to the switch at Kirkland.
You're saying it's unusual for 4 a.m?
No, this would be unusual for halftime at the Super Bowl.
All right.
Cox hangs up the phone.
I have to go in.
What's going on?
Harvard Network's about to crash.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. Pictures are flying by in Mark's computer and suddenly they freeze. That an icon comes up telling him he's no longer connected to the internet. Everyone is frozen silent for a moment.
You don't think?
I do.
Go see if it's everybody.
Dustin, Chris, and Eduardo head out of the room. Mark waits as the guys start coming back in the room.
Can't connect.
The network's down.
Unless it's a coincidence, I think this is us.
It's not a coincidence.
Holy shit.
As we stay on Mark a moment before we cut to interior deposition room day. It's 3 years later and Mark is sitting with his lawyers at a large conference table. Mark is wearing a hoodie, sweatpants, and Adidas flip-flops, a personal uniform that we'll come to understand. And while it may take a while to notice it, Mark's a different person in these flash-forward scenes, still tortured and complicated, but comfortable now with his own power. His lawyer is Cy, who accompanied him by some junior associates, one of whom, a pleasant, pretty, and professional young contemporary of Mark's named Marilyn. We'll get to know. On the other side are Eduardo and his lawyer Gretchen, also accompanied by some associates. A stenographer is typing the record. The room is glass on 2 sides, and through the windows we can see the behemoths of Silicon Valley, Oracle, Sun Microsystems, Google, etc. Gretchen is taking Mark's deposition. So were you called in front of the ad board?
That's not what happened.
You weren't called in front of the administrative board?
No, that's back at the bar with Erica Albright. She said all that?
Mark, I wouldn't.
That I said that stuff to her.
I was reading from the transcript of her deposition, so.
Why would you even need to depose her?
That's really for us to.
I think if I know she can make me look like a jerk, I'll be more likely to settle.
Why don't we stretch our legs for a minute? Can we do that? It's been almost 3 hours, and frankly, you did spend an awful lot of time embarrassing Mr. Zuckerberg with the girl's testimony from the bar.
I'm not embarrassed. She just made a lot of that up.
She was under oath.
And then I guess that would be the first time somebody's lied under oath.
People are stretching and getting coffee and talking quietly. Mark stays in his seat. Marilyn, the attractive second-year associate who's on Mark's legal team, is sitting too, about 4 seats down from Mark.
The site got 2,200 hits within 2 hours.
1,000.
What?
22,000.
Wow.
Cut to exterior Charles River dawn. The Harvard crew is practicing on two-man sculls. There are 3 boats that are running roughly with each other and 2 men crews that are rowing with all they've got. We're gliding along with them in the water.
Travis?
These guys are just freaking fast.
As we pull back to reveal that there's a 4th boat, which is already 5 boat lengths ahead of the other 3. The 4th boat is being crewed by Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, identical twins who stepped out of an ad for Abercrombie and Fitch. They knew that the others aren't in their class, and even though they're highly competitive athletes, they don't like showing anyone up, least of all their teammates.
Is there any way to make this a fair fight?
We could jump out and swim,
I think we have to jump out and drown.
or you could row forward and I could row backward.
We're genetically identical. Science says we'd stay in one place.
Row the damn boat.
And the Winklevoss twins kick into full gear and open up even wider as we lead as we cut to interior Fosheimer dining hall morning. The room's a couple of 100 years old and magnificent. Long, heavy mahogany tables are dotted with club members having breakfast. A porter in a white jacket is setting copies of the Crimson, Harvard student newspaper, at the table occupied by Cameron and Tyler, whose trays are loaded with mountains of eggs and pancakes and carbs. Dinah Narandara, a nice-looking Italian student, sits down next to them holding a copy of the Crimson.
What's up?
You guys hear about this?
What?
2 nights ago, a sophomore choked the network from a laptop at Kirkland
Really?
at 4 a.m.
Tyler picks up a copy of the Crimson and begins reading while his brother and Divya keep talking.
How?
He set up a website where you vote on the hotness of female undergrads. What were we doing that none of us heard about this?
I don't know, a 3-hour low-rate technical row before breakfast, full course load studying, another 3 hours in the tank and then studying. I don't know how we missed it. How much activity was there in this thing that he,
22,000 page requests.
22,000?
Cam, this guy hacked into Facebooks of 7 houses. He set up the whole website in one night and he did it while he was drunk.
22,000.
Yeah.
How do you know he was drunk?
He was blogging simultaneously. You know what I think?
I'm way ahead of you.
This is our guy.
Cut to interior second deposition room day. It's Mark and his lawyers again, but this time the other side of the table are Tyler and Cameron and Divya and their lawyers Gage, whose family had first-class seats on the Mayflower. We'll be back and forth between the 2 deposition rooms a lot.
Cameron Winklevoss, Winklevoss. Cameron spelled the usual way.
Tyler Winklevoss. Tyler's spelled the usual way, and my last name is the same as my brother's.
Cut to interior administrative hearing room day. Mark stands before a panel of administrators as well as Cox, the system manager who was woken up in the opening sequence.
Mr. Zuckerberg, this is an administrative board hearing. You're being accused of intentionally breaching security, violating privacy by creating the website www.facemash.com. You're also charged with being in violation of university policy on distribution of digitized images. Before we begin with our questioning, you're allowed to make a statement. Would you like to do so?
Mark stands to address the board.
I've already apologized in the Crimson to the ABHW, to Fuerza Latina, and to any women at Harvard who might have been insulted, as I take it that they were. As for any charges stemming from the breach of security, I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
Mark takes his seat.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, I don't understand.
Which part?
You deserve recognition?
I believe I pointed out some pretty gaping holes in your system.
Excuse me, may I?
Yes.
Mr. Zuckerberg, I'm in charge of security for all computers on the Harvard network, and I can assure you of its sophistication. In fact, it was that level of sophistication that led us to you in less than 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yes, sir.
That would be impressive, except if you'd known what you were looking for, you would have seen it written on my dorm room window.
Cut to interior corridor day. As the heavy wooden door from the hearing slams shut behind Mark, Eduardo is waiting for him.
So
6 months academic probation.
They walk out into exterior quad continuous.
wow, they had to make an example out of you.
They had my blog. I shouldn't have written the thing about the farm animals. That was stupid. I was kidding, for God's sake. Doesn't anybody have a sense of...
Well, I tried to stop you.
I know.
Well, how do you know this thing how do you do this thing where you manage to get all the girls to hate us? Why did I let you?
I know.
You can't do that.
Eduardo, I said I know.
Cut to interior lecture hall day. Mark is in his operating systems class. This is considered the hardest class at Harvard, and Mark is one of the 50 students with their laptops open as the professor takes them through an impossibly difficult lesson.
Okay, let's look at a sample problem. Suppose we're given a computer with a 16-bit virtual address and a page size of 256 bytes.
A girl scribbles something on a piece of paper, then hands it to the student next to her and nods that it should be passed over to Mark. While that's happening,
The system uses one level page tablets and at that start at address 0 times 0400. Maybe you want to have them DMA on a 16-bit system, who knows? The first few pages are reserved for hardware flags, etc.
Mark opens the note. It reads, "You dick." He looks over and sees a couple of girls looking at him with contempt.
Assume page table entries have 8 status bytes.
Mark closes his laptop, gets up, and starts to head out of the hall.
The 8 status bytes would be, and I see we have our first surrender. Don't worry, Mr. Zuckerberg. Brighter men than you have tried and failed with this class.
1 valid bit, 1 modified bit, 1 reference bit, and 5 permission bits.
That is correct. Now, does everybody see how we got there?
Mark walks out of the lecture hall, and we cut to exterior academic building day as Mark comes out and heads to the quad.
Mark,
Cameron and Tyler have been waiting by the entrance.
are you Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
Cameron Winklevoss.
Hi.
Tyler Winklevoss.
You guys related?
That's good.
That's funny.
We never heard that before.
What can I do for you? Did I insult your girlfriends?
No, you didn't insult our... Actually, I don't know.
We never asked.
We should do that. No, we have an idea we want to talk to you about. Do you have a minute?
You guys look like you spent some time at the gym.
We have to.
Why?
We row crew.
Yeah, I've got a minute.
Great.
Cut to exterior porcelain club day as Mark is escorted by Cameron and Tyler toward the club.
You ever been inside the porcelain?
No.
You understand we can't take you past the bike room because you're not a member.
I've heard.
Interior porcelain club day, the most exclusive of all the final clubs. Divya is sitting in the main living room with the textbook open as the heavy wooden doors open and the 3 of them come into the bike room.
Would you like a sandwich or something?
Okay.
Cameron disappears for a moment.
Mark, right?
Mark is stealing a glance around the room.
Yeah.
This is Divya Narendra, our partner.
We were really impressed with Face Mash, and then we checked out and you also built Course Match.
I don't know course match.
You go online and see what courses your friends are taking. Really smart, man.
Mark is looking at the framed black and white group pictures on the wall of the of old porcelain classes. He sees a bra hanging over a lamp.
Mark,
Yeah.
we were talking about Course Match.
It was kind of a no-brainer.
Cameron comes back in with a sandwich wrapped in cellophane. Mark opens it on his lap and eats uncomfortably.
And you invented something in high school, right?
An app for an MP3 player that recognizes your taste in music.
And try it?
Microsoft.
How much?
I didn't sell it. I uploaded it for free.
For free?
Yeah.
Why?
Mark gives a short shrug that says both "I don't know" and "fuck you" at the same time.
Okay, well, we have something that we've been working on for a while. We think it's great. It's called the Harvard Connection. You create your own page, interests, bio, friends, pics.
And then people can go online, see your bio, and request to be your
Yeah. So how's it different from MySpace or Friendster?
harvard.edu.
Harvard.edu, the most prestigious email address in the country.
And the whole site's kind of based on the idea that girls, well,
Not to put anything indelicately,
Girls want to get with guys who go to Harvard.
Divya and my brother don't have trouble putting things indelicately.
the difference between what we're talking about and MySpace or Friendster or any of those other social networking sites.
Is exclusivity. Right.
Right.
Yes.
We'd love for you to work with us, Mark. I mean, we need a gifted programmer who's creative.
And we know you've taken it in the shins.
The women's groups are ready to declare a fat one. This could help rehabilitate your image.
Wow. You do that for me?
We'd like to work with you.
Our first programmer graduated and went to work at Google. Our second programmer just got overwhelmed with schoolwork. We would need you to build the site and write the code, and we'll provide
I'm in.
the money. What?
I'm in.
Awesome.
Cut to interior second deposition room day. The Winklevosses and Divya with Gage.
That's what you said?
It was 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know what I said.
Cut to interior first deposition room day. Eduardo with Gretchen. When did you come to Eduardo?
I don't understand the question.
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
Do you remember answering in the affirmative?
The affirmative.
Cut to interior first deposition room day. When did you come to Eduardo with the idea for Facebook?
It was called the Facebook then.
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
This doesn't need to be that difficult.
I'm currently in the middle of 2 different lawsuits.
Did you answer affirmatively when Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss and Divya Nahadra asked you to build Harvard Connection? Did you say yes?
I said I'd help.
Cut to interior first deposition room day. When did you approach Dr. Savrin with the idea for the Facebook?
I wouldn't say I approached him.
Sai.
You can answer the question.
At a party at Alpha Epsilon Pi,
What's that?
the Jewish fraternity. It was Caribbean night.
Cut to interior large multi-purpose room night. The hall has been converted into Alpha Epsilon Phi Caribbean Night 2003. The party is about as lame as it sounds. What's important is that it couldn't be less like the final club party we saw at the beginning if they were playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey. Some potted palm trees have been brought along in a steel drum set. The man playing the steel drum set has a yarmulke bobby pin to his thinning hair. A table with a punch bowl and assorted cookies is nearby. Eduardo, in baggy cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt buttoned up to the top, is standing with a few similarly dressed friends, including Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes, in the sparsely populated room. On the other side of the room are a few girls, all Asian. One of the girls is wearing a bikini over her clothes. A television monitor has been set up with a DVD running of Niagara Falls.
It's not that guys like me are generally attracted to Asian girls. It's that Asian girls are generally attracted to guys like me.
I'm developing an algorithm to define the connection between Jewish guys and Asian girls.
I don't think it's that complicated. They're hot, they're smart, they're not Jewish, and they can't dance.
Mark's here.
They see Mark come in and look around. Eduardo waves him over.
Mark!
Mark sees Eduardo and waves him over to where he is. He wants to talk privately.
I'll be right back.
Eduardo joins Mark in the back of the room and they take up a spot next to the bay window that's covered on the outside with ice.
I think I'd come up with something.
Hang on, I've got to tell you something you're not going to believe.
What?
I got punched by the Phoenix.
Are you kidding?
No. I mean, it's just the first of the 4-step process, but they slipped the invitation under my door tonight. I go to my first punch party tomorrow, and if they like me.
You got punched by the Phoenix.
It was probably just a diversity thing. It was just a diversity thing, all right? I'll just ride that horse until. What do you want to talk to me about? Mark,
Yeah.
you said you've come up with something.
It seems like Mark's just made a small decision in his head.
Yeah. I think I've come up with something. Come outside.
It's 20 degrees outside.
I can't stare at that loop of Niagara Falls, which has nothing to do with the Caribbean.
Cut to exterior quad night. Mark and Eduardo come outside and are immediately met by the freezing cold air.
People came to Face Smash in a stampede, right?
Yep.
It wasn't because they saw pictures of hot girls. You can go anywhere on the internet and see pictures of hot girls.
Yep.
Because they saw pictures of girls that they knew. People want to go on the internet and check out their friends. Why not build a website that offers that? Friends, pictures, profiles, whatever you can, visit, browse around. Maybe it's somebody you just met at a party. I'm not talking about a dating site. I'm talking about taking the entire social experience of college and putting it online.
I can't feel my legs.
I know, I'm totally psyched about this too. But Wardo.
Cut to interior first deposition room day.
It would be exclusive.
Cut back to exterior quad night.
You'd have to know the people on the site to get past your own page, like getting punched.
That's good. That's new.
Wardo, it's like a final club, except we're the president.
Cut to interior first deposition room day.
I told him I thought it sounded great. It was a great idea. There was nothing to hack. People were going to provide their own pictures, their own information, and people had the ability to invite or not invite their friends to join. See, in a world where social structure was everything, that was the thing. It was a big project, and he was going to have to write tens of thousands of lines of code, so I wondered why he was coming to me and not his roommates. Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes, they were programmers.
To exterior quad night.
We're going to need a little startup cash to rent the servers and get it online.
Cut to interior first deposition room night.
That was why.
Did he offer terms?
Nope.
Cut to
we'll split it.
exterior quad night.
70-30. 70 for me, 30 for you, putting up the thousands of dollars and handling everything on the business end. You're CFO.
Cut to interior first deposition room day. And you said?
I said, let's do it.
Okay. Did he say anything else?
Unfortunately, yes.
Cut to exterior quad night.
It probably was a diversity thing, but so what?
Cut to interior first deposition room day. Why do you think he said that?
Gretchen, excuse me for interrupting, but whose discovery is this?
Sai, if you'll let me continue with my line of questioning.
What are you suggesting?
You're suggesting I was jealous of Eduardo for getting punched by the Phoenix and began a plan to screw him out of a company I hadn't even invented yet.
Were you?
Gretchen,
Jealous of Eduardo?
stop typing. We're off the record.
Ma'am, I know you've done your homework, and so you know that money isn't a big part of my life, but at the moment I could buy Mount Auburn Street, take the Phoenix Club, and turn it into my ping pong room.
Cut to exterior quad night. Eduardo's walking away and calls back to Mark.
I'll let you know how the party is.
We stand Mark for a moment longer, his wheels turning, before we cut to interior second deposition room day. Eduardo's in different clothes and being questioned by Gage.
We recognize that you're a plaintiff in one suit involving Facebook and a witness in another.
Yes, sir.
And at any time in the weeks prior to Mark's telling you his idea, did he mention Tyler Winklevoss, Cameron Winklevoss, Dira Nahadra, or Harvard connection?
Yes, he's said they'd asked him to work on their site, but that he'd looked at what they had and decided it wasn't worth his time. He said even his most pathetic friends knew more about getting people interested in a website than these guys.
These guys, meaning my clients.
Yes, he resented. Mark resented that they, your clients, thought he needed to rehabilitate his image after Face Smash, but Mark didn't want to rehabilitate anything. With Face Smash, he'd hacked into Harvard computers, he thumbed his nose at the ad board, he'd gotten a lot of notoriety. Face Match did exactly what he wanted to do.
Mark kind of nods a little to himself. It should be noted that these depositions have an extra element of discomfort, as everything is being said within a few feet of the people being talked about.
Were you aware that while Mr. Zuckerberg was building the Facebook, he was also communicating with the plaintiffs?
Not at the time I wasn't, but it really didn't have much to do with Winklevoss's dating.
You weren't there.
Ty, were you aware that while Mr. Zuckerberg was building the Facebook, he was leading the plaintiffs to believe he was building Harvard Connection?
You're offering a conclusion not found in evidence.
We're about to find it in evidence.
Music kicks in that will tie this next section together as we cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. 2 printouts of web pages are taped to the whiteboard, Friendster and MySpace. Under the 2 pages, Mark draws a 3rd page and titles it New Co. Cut to interior second deposition room day.
From Mark Zuckerberg to Tyler Winklevoss, November 30th, 2003. I read over all of the stuff you sent me, Harvard Connection, and it seems like it shouldn't take too long to implement, so we can talk about it after I get all the basic functionality up tomorrow night.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. The whiteboard is filled with diagrams now. Login page, profile page, create account. We move over to see Mark at his computer. He opens the Emacs program and then the Firefox, hits a few keys, and the diagram on the whiteboard comes to life on his computer as we cut to interior second deposition room day.
From Mark Zuckerberg to Cameron Winklevoss, December 1st, 2003. Sorry I was unreachable tonight. I just got about 3 of your missed calls. I was working on a problem set for my systems class.
Cameron and Tyler are looking blankly at Mark, who's giving them a casual, I'm not scared of you look. And we cut to interior Phoenix House night. The music continues as Eduardo and other prospective new members, all wearing tuxedos, are lined up in 4 rows. The boy at the front of each row has a bottle of Jack Daniels and drinks as long as they can before passing the bottle, relay style, to the boy in back of him as a few seniors look on. Eduardo gets handed the bottle and starts in as we cut to interior classroom day. It's an art history class, and we have run past the rows of students, and we see they all have the same painting going on their laptops as the professor gives a lecture. When we get to Mark's laptop, we see he's writing code, and we cut to interior second deposition room day.
Mark Zuckerberg to Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, December 10th, 2003. This week has been pretty busy thus far with classes and work, so I think it's probably best to postpone the meeting.
Cut to interior Cameron and Tyler's dorm room night. Cameron, Tyler, and Divya are reading the email.
I'm also really busy tomorrow. Anybody else feel like there's something up with this guy?
Tell him okay, but we've got to make sure that we meet up before we all go off for break.
Cut to interior Eduardo's dorm room night. Eduardo at his desk on the phone when an envelope that says Phoenix is slipped under his door. He turns and looks to see it. Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. Every available wall space is covered with a diagram or a printout. Eduardo comes in with the envelope.
Mark,
I need a dedicated Linux box running Apache with my SQL backend. It's going to cost a little more money.
how much more?
200 more.
Do we need it?
Gotta handle the traffic.
Do it.
I already did.
Hey, guess what? I made the second cut.
Good job. You should be proud of that right there. Don't worry if you don't make it any further.
I'll get out of here then.
Cut to interior second deposition room day. The music continues.
From Mark Zuckerberg to Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss and Divya Nahardra, December 15th, 2003. I have a CS problem set that I'm just getting started with, and it should be about 15 hours of coding, so I'll be busy tomorrow night.
Cut to interior Profsenheimer dining hall, night.
I won't really be free to meet until next Wednesday afternoon.
Cameron and Tyler give each other a look. Is this guy flaking out? Cut to interior second deposition room day.
Have to cancel Wednesday afternoon. I've basically been in the lab this whole time. And also,
Cut to interior hamburger joint night. Divya's reading off his BlackBerry to Tyler and Cameron.
Won't be able to do Saturday as I have to meet up with my parents to.
Cut to exterior Harvard Yard night. The music continues. It's snowing and it's cold as hell. Eduardo's now a smaller group of prospective members, most of whom are in their underwear, with a couple of them wearing pants. They're all blue and shivering. They're gathered around a statue of John Harvard as the senior announces.
As the plaque reads, this is John Harvard, founder of Harvard University in 1638. It's also called the Statue of Three Lies. What are the three lies, Mr. Dowd? Mr. Dowd.
The three lies. The first, shit.
Take your pants off.
I know.
Mr. Savarin.
1, Harvard was founded in 1636, not 1638. 2, Harvard wasn't founded by John Harvard. And 3, that's not John Harvard.
Who is it?
A friend of the sculptor, Daniel Chester.
Keep your jacket on.
As another kid simply falls into his hands and knees and throws up, we cut to interior second deposition room day.
39 days after Mr. Zuckerberg's initial meeting with my clients, and he still hadn't completed work on Harvard Connection. But on January 11th, 2004,
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room day. A website called Network Solutions is up on Mark's screen. He hits a couple of keys and waits intently. Then the computer shows him what he wanted to see, www.thefacebook.com. Domain name registered.
Mr. Zuckerberg registered the domain name The Facebook via Network Solutions.
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
To the best of your knowledge, had he even begun to work on Harvard Connection?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Cut to interior porcelain night. Cameron's looking at his email.
What in the world is this? Hey, Cameron, I'm still a little skeptical that we have enough functionality in the site to really draw the attention and gain the critical mass necessary to get a site like this to run. We'll speak soon.
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
This is the first time he mentioned any problem?
Yes, it was.
You'd sent 36 emails to Mr. Zuckerberg and received 16 return emails, and this was the first time he indicated he was not happy?
That's correct. He had 42 days to study our system and get out ahead on.
Sorry, could you?
Mark.
Did I use any of your code?
You stole our whole goddamn idea.
Fellas.
Match.com for Harvard, guys.
Can I continue with my deposition?
You know, you really don't need a forensic team to get to the bottom of this. If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
I can't wait to stand over your shoulder and watch you write us a check.
No shit.
Let's continue.
Divya is still staring at Mark, who just smiles a little as he looks down.
February 4th, 2004.
Cut to interior computer science lab day. Mark is working at a station. We can see through the windows that it is frigid, snowy February day in Cambridge, but Mark's in his hoodie and cargo shorts nonetheless. It looks like he hasn't slept in days. On his monitor, we can see that he's working on the profile page for the Facebook. Dustin Moskovitz steps up to him quietly.
Mark.
Mark turns his head and looks at him.
There's a girl in your art history class. Her name is Stephanie Addis. Do you happen to know if she has a boyfriend?
Mark just keeps looking at him, barely even blinking. Why am I being interrupted?
Have you ever seen her with anyone? And if not, do you happen to know if she's looking to go out with anyone?
Dustin, people don't walk around with a sign on that says
And Mark just stops short right there because in his head, he's just discovered the cure for cancer.
Mark?
Exterior computer science building day. As Mark with his backpack stuffed comes flying out of the building into the snow, we barely keeping his balance on the ice. We cut to interior Kirkland House lobby morning. The heavy door bursts open and Mark comes busting through. He makes his way with speed and intent up a flight of stairs, then another, and then another until he gets to his floor. He sprints down his hall toward his dorm room and barely notices Eduardo leaning against the door.
We were supposed to meet at 9.
Mark is searching the pockets of his shorts for his keys.
You slept yet?
Mark opens the door and they go into the suite.
I have to add something.
What?
Mark's in his own world as he sits at the computer and calls up the Facebook. The home page fills the screen.
Shit. Oh, that looks good. That looks really good.
It's clean and simple. No Disneyland, no live nude girls.
The camera surveys the screen as Mark slips through some functions to show Eduardo. And we see things that are now familiar: a photo, sex, a profile, a list of attributes, a poke application, etc.
Watch.
Mark's called up the Emacs program and quickly writes out several lines of code.
What'd you write?
Mark goes back into the profile page. There's a new area to be filled in.
Relationship status, interested in. This is what drives life at college. Are you having sex or aren't you? It's why people take certain classes and sit where they sit and do what they do. And it's in the center, you know, that's what the Facebook is going to be about. People are going to log on because after all the cake and watermelon, there's a chance they're actually going to
Get laid.
meet a girl. Yes.
That's really good.
And that's it.
What do you mean?
It's ready.
It's ready?
Yeah.
Right now.
That was it. And here's the masthead.
Mark hits another couple of keystrokes and the website's masthead comes up.
You made a masthead.
Yeah.
Eduardo Savin, co-founder and CFO?
Yeah.
You have no idea what that's going to mean to my father.
Sure I do.
When's it going to go live?
Right now. Get your laptop out.
Why do we need my laptop?
Because you got emails for everyone at the Phoenix.
I'm not sure if it's going to be cool with them that I spam their...
This is not spam.
No, I know it's not spam.
If we send it out to our friends, it'll bounce around the Dworkin.
I haven't gotten in yet.
These guys know people and I need their emails.
Sure.
Good.
Eduardo takes out his laptop.
Give me the mailing list.
Jabberwock 12 at listserv at Harvard edu.
Mark opens up an email and is writing a short message that includes a link to the site.
These guys, they're literary geniuses because the world's most obvious Lewis Carroll reference.
They're not so bad.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
He hits send.
Site's live.
You know what? Let's go get a drink and celebrate. I'm buying.
Mark is staring at the computer.
Mark?
Mark doesn't hear him. We just see Mark's head from the back and it's ever so slightly bobbing back and forth.
Mark? Are you praying?
Cut to interior dining hall night. The Crocodiles, Harvard's oldest male a cappella group, are singing at the front of the hall in their usual uniform of white tie and tails, and for a packed crowd of students and parents. Incongruously, with a surprisingly nice results, the group is covering a song from All in One, I Swear, and the pub full of students is loving it. We find a table at the back where Divya is sitting with his girlfriend and some of their friends who are having a nice time. Divya's girlfriend, Casey, has her laptop open.
Whatever happened to Cole Porter and Irving Berlin?
It's a Valentine's theme. They're playing love songs.
Good point, because Cole Porter and Irving Berlin never wrote any love songs.
Honey, you should put the laptop away.
Seven different people spam me the same link.
Casey.
She clicks on the link.
What is it?
I don't know, but I'm really hoping it's cats that look like Hitler because I can never get enough of that. It's not.
Divya takes Casey's hand and turns his focus back to the singers, but for only just a second, because whatever was on the screen gets his attention in a hurry. He swivels the laptop toward himself. He starts quickly scrolling and reading it as we push in on his face and the blood starts draining away.
What?
Divya shuts the laptop, grabs it off the table, puts it back. People are starting to turn to see what the commotion is as the singing continues.
What's wrong?
Divya starts to bolt out of the pub. His foot gets caught on a chair leg and he falls face first to the floor.
It's fine.
He starts out again, then comes back for his coat, grabs it, starts out, and falls down all over again. Finally, he's got it together and flies out of the pub as we cut to exterior bridge night. Divya is running across the Charles in the freezing February air, and we cut to interior boathouse night. Cameron and Tyler are rowing in a large practice tank, a simulator with a hull, oars, and rowable water. They're focused and charging away in perfect sync when the door at the end of the century-old boathouse opens and Divya charges in from the cold with his laptop and a copy of the Crimson in his hands.
Hey,
The twins are in the zone and they don't pay any attention.
hey.
Not now. We need 20 minutes.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know Zuckerberg stole our website.
Tyler stops rowing and then Cameron. They look at Divya.
Mark Zuckerberg stole our website. It's been live for more than 36 hours.
Cut to interior Cameron and Tyler's dorm room night. They're in gear. Cameron's taken a quick shower, but they don't dry off. He's in sweatpants with a towel over his shoulder, talking on the phone with his father and holding the Crimson. Divya's on his cell phone, looking for Mark and Tyler, still in his practice clothes. He has his desktop computer open to the Facebook and is studying it.
Hi, the lawyer's on the phone with Dad. I'm here with my brother Tyler and our business partner Divya.
Welcome to the Facebook. The Facebook is an online directory that connects people through different social networks. You must have a harvard.edu address to register.
That's right.
I called earlier. I'm looking for Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, sir. He's quoted a couple times. I can read it to you. Everyone's been talking a lot about the universal Facebook within Harvard, he says. He meaning Mark. I think it's kind of silly that it would take the university a couple of years to get around to it. I can do it a classier job than they can, and I did it in a week.
Tell him Divya and Narendra called. I appreciate it.
I know, that's how he talks.
As of yesterday evening, Zuckerberg said over 650 students had registered to use the face.com. He said he anticipated that 900 students would have joined the site by this morning.
Yeah, Divya was just reading that 650 students signed up for it on the first day.
If I were a drug dealer, I couldn't give free drugs to 650 people in one day.
And this guy doesn't have 3 friends to rub together to make a 4th.
Yeah, guys, please, come on. That's what we'll do, Mr. Hotchkiss. We'll put all this together and we'll email it to you. You won't be able to get on the website yourself because you don't have Harvard. You know what? It would just be easier for us to email it to you. No, I'm sure you're right. This is a good guy.
Wow.
And he's very bright, and I'm sure he didn't mean to do what he did. Thank you very much. And Dad, all right. I love you too.
Cameron hangs up.
This is a good guy.
We don't know that he's not a good guy.
We know that he stole our idea. We know he lied to our faces for a month and a half while he
never lied to our faces.
He never saw our faces. He lied to our email accounts. And he got himself a 42-day head start because he knows what apparently you don't know, which is that getting there first is everything.
I'm a competitive racer, Div. I don't think you need to school me on the importance of getting there first. Thank you.
Okay. That was your father's lawyer?
It was his in-house counsel. He'll look at it, and if he thinks it's appropriate, he'll send a cease and desist letter.
What's that going to do?
What, do you want to hire an IP lawyer and sue him?
No, I want to hire the Sopranos to beat the shit out of him with a hammer.
We don't even have to do that.
That's right.
We can do that ourselves.
Hey.
I'm 6'5", 220, and there's 2 of me.
I'm with this guy.
And I'm saying let's calm down until we know what we're talking about.
How much more information are you waiting for? We met with Mark 3 times. We exchanged 52 emails. We can prove that he looked at the code. What is that on the bottom of the page?
It says a Mark Zuckerberg production.
On the home page.
On every page.
Oh shit, I need a second to let the classiness wake over me.
Look.
Cam, they wrote, Zuckerberg said that he hoped the privacy options would help to restore his reputation following student outrage over facemash.com. That's exactly what we said to him. He's giving us the finger in the crimson. Now, while we're waiting for Dad's lawyer to look at this stuff over, we can at least
Low.
get something going in the paper so that people know that this thing is in dispute.
We're not starting a knife fight in the Crimson, and we're not suing anybody.
Why not?
Cameron wants to answer the question, but doesn't.
I don't understand. Why not?
He's gonna say it's stupid.
Me?
Say it. Why not?
Because we're gentlemen of Harvard. This is Harvard. You don't plant stories and you don't sue people.
You thought he was going to be the one who thought that was stupid.
To interior second deposition room, day.
During the time when you say you had this idea, did you know Tyler and Cameron came from a family of means?
A family of means?
Did you know that his father was wealthy?
I'm not sure why you're asking me that.
It's not important that you be sure why I'm asking you.
It's not important to you.
Sigh.
Did you know that they came from money?
I had no idea whether they came from money or not.
In one of your emails to Mr. Nahidra, you referenced Howard Winklevoss consulting firm.
You say so?
Howard Winklevoss founded a firm whose assets are in the hundreds of millions.
Mm-hmm.
You also knew that Cameron and Tyler were members of a Harvard final club called the Procillion.
They pointed that out.
What was that, Tyler?
Excuse us for inviting you in.
To the bike room.
Please. So it's safe to say you were aware that my clients had money.
Yes.
Let me tell you why I'm asking. I'm wondering why, if you needed $1,000 for an internet venture, you didn't ask my clients for it. They demonstrated to you an interest in this kind of thing. So I would assume
I went to a friend for the money because that's who I wanted to be partners with. Eduardo was the president of the Harvard Investors Association, and he was my best friend.
your best friend is suing you for $600 million.
I didn't know that. Tell me more.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day.
Eduardo, what happened after the initial launch?
I'm sorry, Sai, would you mind addressing him as Mr. Severin?
Gretchen, they're best friends.
Not anymore.
We already went through this on the, never mind. Mr. Saverin, what happened after the initial?
It exploded.
Cut to interior second deposition room, day.
Everyone on campus was using it. Facebook was a common expression after 2 weeks.
And Mark?
Mark was the biggest thing on a campus that included 19 Nobel laureates, 15 Pulitzer Prize winners, 2 future Olympians, and a movie star.
Who's the movie star?
Does it matter?
No.
Cut to exterior established auditorium, night. The lamps in Harvard Yard and light the snow that's falling.
The light bulb event, the inciting action, was when he was at Out of Town News and picked up a copy of Popular Electronics that had the MITS Altair kit on the cover.
Interior auditorium, same time. There's a lower level and a balcony that are both full. Mark and Eduardo are sitting in the second to last row of the balcony. We'll hear the speaker, but we'll only get to see him in a slightly blurry image as our attention is on Mark and Eduardo.
It was a beautiful day, and I was in my room at Radcliffe, and he brought me the magazine, and he said, "Look, it's going to happen without us. We've got to start it now." And so I said, "Okay, you're right. Let's get basic out there."
He gets an appreciative laugh from the students.
Most of you think you know the rest of the story, but you may not. The beginnings of this industry were very humble. That kit computer on the cover of that magazine.
We hear a little muffled giggling coming from the row behind Mark and Eduardo. Mark is too into the speech to notice, but the giggling registers as a slight annoyance on Eduardo's face.
Had an 8080 microprocessor in it. Unless you paid extra for a 1K memory board, you had 256 bytes.
Eduardo hears the giggling again and turns around. In the row behind them, a few seats over, are two beautiful Asian students, Alice and Christy. They're a little overly made up for the lecture. Christy, the one sitting closest to Eduardo, is wearing a short skirt with a white shirt open one button too far down the front, and we can see a hint of the red bra she's wearing underneath. She leans forward and whispers to Eduardo.
Your friend, is that Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes.
He made the Facebook.
Eduardo smiles a little. This has just never happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's both of ours, but yeah, yes.
Cool. I'm Christy. This is Alice.
Eduardo can't help noticing, just because it's in his line of sight, that down the row from the girls, someone else is pointing at them and whispering to a friend, then back to the girls.
Very nice to meet you.
Facebook me when you get home. Maybe we can all go out and grab a drink later.
Certainly. Absolutely. I will do that.
Eduardo turns back to the speaker, who Mark hasn't taken his eyes off of.
There were a number of machines that came next. The TRS-80, Apple II, Commodore PET.
Cut to exterior auditorium night. As the crowd from the lecture spills out onto the snowy quad, Eduardo, always in a suit, is buttoning up his overcoat as he walks over to Mark and Mark zips up his hoodie.
She said, Facebook me, and we can all go for a drink later, which is stunningly great for two reasons. One, she said, Facebook me, right? And the other is,
They want to have drinks later.
Yes. Have you ever heard of so many different good things packed into one regular size sentence?
A group of guys hustles up to Mark and Eduardo.
Excuse me, Mark.
Yeah?
I'm Stuart Singer. I'm in your OS lab.
Sure.
Awesome job with the face.
Awesome job.
Thanks.
I'm Bob.
How you doing?
I could swear he was looking at you when you said the next Bill Gates could be right in this room.
I doubt it.
I showed up late. I don't even know who the speaker was.
It was Bill Gates.
Shit, that makes sense.
All right, thanks, guys.
As Mark and Eduardo walk on, we leave Stuart, Vikram, and Bob in the background, with Stuart and Vikram admonishing Bob with,
Are you a moron?
Oh,
You didn't even recognize Bill Gates. He's standing right in front of you.
Mark Zuckerberg now thinks you're
I'm gonna
Harvard
get
on
Glock
campus
39. I'm gonna kill you.
cut to interior Mark's dorm room night, as the door opens and Mark and Eduardo come into the overheated warmth of the room.
That was brilliant. It's time to monetize the thing.
What were their names?
Did you hear what I said?
When?
I said it's time to monetize the site.
What does that mean?
It means it's time for the website to generate revenue.
No, I know what the word means. I'm asking, how do you want to do it?
Advertising.
No,
We've got 4,000 members.
because the Facebook is cool. If we want to start installing pop-ups for Mountain Dew, it's not going to.
Well, I wasn't thinking Mountain Dew, but at some point, and I'm talking as the business end of the company, the site.
We don't even know what it is yet. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it can be. We don't know what it will be. And we know that it's cool. That is a priceless asset. I'm not giving it up.
When will it be finished?
It won't be finished. That's the point. The way fashion's never finished.
What?
Fashion. Fashion is never finished.
Well, you're talking about fashion, really? You?
I'm talking about the idea of it, and I'm saying it's never finished.
Okay, but they never managed to make money selling pants.
Eduardo has seen something on the top of Mark's mantle.
What is this?
What?
Eduardo holds up a letter that's on a lawyer's stationery.
This.
It's called a cease and desist letter. What were their names?
Who?
The girls.
Eduardo's speed reading the letter.
When did you get this?
About 10 days ago, right after we launched the site.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, the girls, what were their names?
They're saying the Winklevoss twins are saying that you stole their idea.
I find that to be a little more than mildly annoying.
They find it to be intellectual property theft. Why?
Look,
Well, why didn't you show me this to me?
it was addressed to me.
They're saying we stole the Facebook from Divya, Narendra, and the Winkle.
I know what it says.
Did we?
Did we what?
Don't screw around with me now. Look at me.
Mark
letter
looks
says-
at Eduardo.
The letter says we could face legal action.
No, it says I could face legal action.
It's from a lawyer, Mark. They must feel they have some grounds for it.
The lawyer is their father's house counsel.
Do they have grounds?
The grounds are our thing is cool and popular, and Harvard Connection is lame. Eduardo, I didn't use any of their code. I promise I didn't use anything. A guy who builds a really nice chair doesn't owe money to everyone who has ever built a chair. They came to me with an idea. I had a better one.
Well, why didn't you show me the letter?
I didn't think it was a big deal.
Well, if there's something wrong, if there's ever anything wrong, you can tell me. I'm the guy that wants to help. This is our thing. Is there anything you need to tell me?
No.
And what are we doing about this?
I went to a 3L at Student Legal Services and he told me to write them back.
And what did you say?
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
When we met in January, I expressed my doubts about the site, where it stood with graphics, how much programming was left that I had not anticipated.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night.
The lack of hardware we had to deal with, site use, the lack of promotion that would go to successfully launch the website.
Cut to interior second deposition room day.
This was the first time you raised any of those concerns, right?
I'd raised concerns before.
Bullshit.
Not to us.
Gentlemen. I'm talking about at the meeting in January to which the letter is referring.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase this. You sent my clients 16 emails. In the first 15, you didn't raise any concerns.
Is that a question?
In the 16th email, you raised concerns about the site's functionality. Were you leading them on for 6 weeks?
No.
Why hadn't you raised any of these concerns before?
It's raining.
I'm sorry?
It just started raining.
Mr. Zuckerberg, do I have your full attention?
No.
Do you think I deserve it?
What?
Do you think I deserve your full attention?
I turned oath before we began this deposition, and I don't want to perjure myself, so I have a legal obligation to say no.
Okay, no, you don't think I deserve your attention.
I think if your clients want to sit on my shoulders and call themselves tall, they have a right to give it a try, but there's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing. Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
Gage just looks casually at Mark. Mark doesn't meet his gaze or looks from Divya, Tyler, and Cameron.
I've got 12:45. Why don't we say that's lunch?
Back at 2:30?
Everyone gets up and we cut to interior Mark's dorm room night.
So what were their names?
Their names were Christy and Alice. And they want to have drinks tonight.
Cut to interior men's room night. It's a nice men's room, mahogany stalls, in a nice club in Cambridge. We hear the thumping of the house music coming from the club. And when one of the wooden stall doors flies open and Eduardo is shoved in, followed by Christy, who did the shoving, she's all over him as she presses his back against the divider. Eduardo's hands are sliding under Christy's white shirt and finding the red bra when they hear a noise. Someone's gone into the next stall.
Shit.
I don't care. Christy keeps him pinned against the divider as she reaches down and unbuckles his belt. And then he hears another noise from the stall next door, a thump against the divider. Christy's got his fly unzipped. Eduardo looks down at the space between the stalls. He sees a pair of Adidas flip-flops. Then the sound of moaning. Before Eduardo has time to say anything, Christy pulls her shirt open, revealing the red bra, and puts her hand down his pants as we cut to interior men's club men's room night. Mark and Eduardo are standing guard outside the door. They're silent, but very happy. A guy comes along to use the men's room.
Sorry, it'll just be a minute. Some girls are freshening up in there.
Sweet.
The guy goes off. Eduardo taps Mark.
We have groupies.
Mark can't help but smile. Then he sees something.
I'll be right back.
Mark, where are you going? Mark!
Mark makes his way through the crowd to a round booth. A girl is sitting there, and even though her back is to Mark, he can recognize her. She's with a girlfriend and 3 guys. When he makes it to the booth, he says,
Erica?
Erica from the opening scene turns her head to looks up to see Mark. She's looking very sexy for her Friday night on the town, and the 3 guys she's with are studs. A few more friends of theirs are standing around the edges of the booth.
Hi.
I saw you from over there, Erik. I didn't know you came to this club a lot.
First time.
Mine too. Could I talk to you alone for a second?
I think I'm good right here.
I'd like to talk to you alone. If we could just go someplace.
Right here's fine.
Mark is very aware of everyone else around the booth.
I don't know if you heard about this new website I launched.
No.
The Facebook?
You called me a bitch on the internet, Mark.
That's why I wanted to talk to you. If we could just...
On the internet.
That's why I came over.
Comparing women to farm animals.
I didn't end up doing that.
It didn't stop you from writing it, as if every thought that tumbles through your head is so clever it would be a crime for it not to be shared. The internet's not written in pencil, Mark. It's written in ink, and you published that Erica Albright was a bitch right before you made some ignorant crack about my family's name, my bra size, and then rated women based on their hotness.
Erica, is there a problem?
No, there's no problem. You write your snide bullshit from a dark room because that's what the angry do nowadays. I was nice to you. Don't torture me for it.
Mark glances at the table of Erica's friends.
If we could just go somewhere for a minute.
No, I don't want to be rude to my friends.
Okay.
Okay. Good luck with your video game.
It was an honest mistake on Erica's part, but a kidney punch to Mark. Mark turns and goes and sees that Eduardo had been standing and watching from a distance with Christy.
Hey, that was great. That was the right thing to do. You apologize, right?
We have to expand.
What?
And Mark heads to the door. Eduardo watches Mark and then looks back to the girls. Is he mad about something? Cut to interior Mark's dorm room night. The door closes behind Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes. Mark and Eduardo are waiting, and Christy and Alice are sitting on the couch. Everyone's got a beer. Once the door is closed.
We're expanding to Yale and Columbia. Dustin, I want you to share the coding work with me. Chris, you're going to be in charge of publicity and outreach, and you can start by getting a story in the BU student newspaper, The Bridge.
I hate doing stories about Harvard.
Somebody at the newspaper will be a computer science major. Tell him Mark Zuckerberg will do 10 hours of free programming.
Why do you want a story in the BU newspaper?
Because I do. Here's the arrangement. Eduardo is CFO and owns 30% of the company. Dustin is vice president and head of programming, and his 5% of the company will come from my end. Chris is director of publicity, and his compensation will depend on the amount of work he ends up doing. Any questions?
Who are the girls?
Christy and Alice.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Is there anything we can do?
No, that's it. Yale and Columbia. Let's go.
And Stanford.
What?
Stanford. It's time for them to see this in Palo Alto.
Cut to interior first deposition room day. Mark is sitting alone in the now empty room. There's a computer on the table and in the corner, and Mark makes a few keystrokes and then reads the screen. Marilyn, the young lawyer we met earlier on, comes in with a plastic salad container in her hand and sits at the far end of the table from Mark, who doesn't acknowledge her.
You don't want any lunch?
No.
You're welcome to some salad.
No, thank you.
This must be hard.
Who are you?
I'm Marilyn Delpy. I introduced myself.
I mean, what do you do?
I'm a second-year associate at the firm. My boss wanted me to sit in on the deposition phase.
Mark nods.
What are you doing?
Checking in to see how it's going in Bosnia.
Bosnia?
Mark nods.
They don't have roads, but they have Facebook.
Mark nods.
You must really hate the Winklevosses.
I don't hate anybody. The Winklevi aren't suing me for intellectual property theft. They're suing me because for the first time in their lives, things didn't work out the way they were supposed to for them.
Cut to interior Tyler and Cameron's dorm room, night. Tyler and Cameron are both studying when Divya bursts in.
He's expanding.
What?
He's expanding to Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. He'll be in the Crimson tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
So that cease and desist letter really scared the shit out of him, huh?
I want to hire a lawyer to file for injunctive relief and get this website taken down now. Look, every minute this site is up, Harvard Connection becomes less valuable. I want an injunction, I want damages, I want punitive relief, and I want him dead.
I want those things too.
Then why aren't we doing anything about it? Because we're gentlemen of Harvard?
Because you're not thinking about how to look.
How will it look?
Like my brother and I are in skeleton costumes chasing the Karate Kid around high school gym.
He's violated Massachusetts state law. When he goes to Connecticut, New York, and California, he'll have violated federal law. And by the way, he's in violation of Harvard law.
There's no such thing as Harvard law.
Wait. Yes, there is.
Tyler goes to the bookshelf and pulls down a manual.
Harvard Student Handbook. Every freshman is issued one of these. Somewhere in this book, it says...
You can't steal from another student. This is what we needed. We're going to Summers.
You can't get a meeting with Larry Summers.
My brother and I pay tuition at the school. We carry a 3.9 GPA at this school. We won trophies for this school, and we'll be rowing in the Olympics for this school. I want a meeting with the goddamn president of the school. Why Stanford?
Why do you think?
Cut to interior, a girls' college apartment, Palo Alto, morning. A pretty 20-year-old co-ed, Amy, pulls a curtain open and the darkened room immediately fills with unwelcomed sunlight. Amy's wearing nothing but a Stanford sweatshirt. As a skinny 22-year-old guy who's lying on her futon wakes up. There's other evidence on the walls that they're at Stanford University. There are also pieces of Amy's clothing strewn about. The young man on the futon is Sean Parker.
I'm sorry, I'm late for biochem.
Okay.
You don't know my name, do you?
Is it Stanford?
I should just kick your ass. How can you go to a party, meet?
Amelia Ritter, but you prefer Amy. You're from Orinda, your father's in commercial real estate, and your mother's 10 years sober.
What's my major?
Trombone?
Really?
I remember something about a trombone.
Oh, fucking French. Tu fais l'amour à la jolie fille et la mette de cœur.
French. Your major is French.
Oui. Yours?
Mine? I don't have one.
You haven't declared.
Oh, I don't go to school.
You're kidding.
No.
Where did you go to school?
William Taft Elementary for a little while.
Seriously, you're not like 15 years old or anything, are you?
No. You're not like 15 or...
Oh, so what do you do?
I'm an entrepreneur.
You're unemployed.
I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
That I'm an entrepreneur.
What was your latest preneur?
Well, I founded an internet company that let folks download and share music for free.
Kind of like Napster?
Exactly like Napster.
What do you mean?
I founded Napster.
Sean Parker founded Napster.
Nice to meet you.
You're Sean Parker?
Aha, the shoe's on the other
Foot?
table, which has turned.
I just slept with Sean Parker?
You just slept on Sean Parker.
You're a zillionaire.
Not technically.
What are you?
Broke. There's not a lot of money in free music, even less when you're being sued by everyone who's ever been to the Grammys.
This is blowing my mind.
I appreciate that.
I have to hop in the shower and get ready for class.
Biochem, even though you're a French major whose name is Amy.
You passed.
I'm a hard worker.
There's juice or anything else you can find. Help yourself.
Mind if I check my email?
Go ahead.
Amy heads to the bathroom but leaves the door open ajar. Sean steps over Amy's pink laptop and hits a key to wake it up out of sleep mode. The shower starts running in the bathroom. The laptop springs to life, and open is something Sean's never seen before, a Facebook page. He sees Amy's picture and a short profile, her major at Stanford, courses she's taking, books she likes, clubs she's a member of.
Amy.
She can't hear him in the shower. Sean explores around a little more. He knows his way around a computer. He sees her friends, friend after friend after friend.
Jesus.
He gets up and goes to the bathroom door.
Hey, Amy,
Yeah,
can you come out here?
just a second.
Sean tries to wait, but can't.
There's a snake in here, Amy.
What?
Amy grabs a towel and jumps out of the shower.
Where?
There isn't a snake, but I need to ask you something.
Are you kidding me? I could have been killed.
How?
But by running too fast and getting twisted in the curtain. What do you need to ask me?
I went to check my email and there's a site open on your computer.
Yeah, after you passed out last night, I went on the Facebook for a little bit.
What's that?
The Facebook? Stanford's had it for like 2 weeks now. Like, it's really awesome, except it's freakishly addictive. Seriously, I'm on the thing like 5 times a day.
Mind if I grab a piece of paper and a pen?
Is everything okay?
Everything's great. I just need to find you, Mark Zuckerberg.
Cut to interior Larry Summers' outer office day. Cameron and Tyler in dark suits are waiting to see the president of Harvard. The president's office is in one of the 2 oldest university buildings in the country. And the secretary sitting at the desk is even older. You get the sense that she thinks Harvard would be a better place if it weren't for all these students.
Never been in this building before. Secretary. I'm talking to you, secretary.
Well, I'm busy hating my life as a secretary. This building's 100 years older than the country it's in, so do be careful.
We're sitting in chairs.
Whoa, yes. Very good.
She hangs up the phone.
You can go in now.
She points to a door, and Cameron and Tyler get up, quickly straighten themselves, and walk into interior Summers' office continuous. Larry Summers, a large man, is on the phone at his desk in his well-appointed office. A fire crackles in his sitting area, and a 40-ish African-American woman, Anne, in a pantsuit, is nearby going over some papers. Summers waves the boys in.
That's just their own stupidity. I should have been there. Darkness is the absence of light, and stupidity in that instance was the absence of me.
Summers motions for them to sit, and they do. They take in some of the photographs around the room. Summers with Bill Clinton, etc.
Catherine, I have students in my office now. Students, undergrads. I don't know. From the looks of it, they want to sell me a Brooks Brothers franchise. All right.
Summers hangs up the phone.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Cameron Winklevoss, and this is my brother Tyler.
Summers reaches to the top of a pile of papers and pulls a 10-page letter off the top.
And you're here because
There's silence while Summers appears to read over the letter.
either one of you can answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were reading the letter.
Oh, I've read the letter.
We came up with an idea for a website called Harvard Connection. We've since changed the name to Connect You, and Mark Zuckerberg stole that idea. And
I understand. I'm asking, what do you want me to do about it?
Cameron points to a row of Harvard student handbooks on the shelf behind Summers.
well, sir, in the Harvard Student Handbook, which is distributed to each freshman under the heading Standards of Conduct in the Harvard Community.
Summers can't help but an agonized sigh.
It says the college expects that all students will be honest and forthcoming in their dealings with members of this community. All students are required to respect public and private ownership. Instances of theft, misappropriation.
Anne? Anne, God damn it, Anne. Oh, Anne, when you come
Yes,
in here,
sir.
will you punch me in the face? Go ahead.
Or unauthorized use will result in disciplinary action, including requirement to withdraw from the college.
And you memorize that instead of doing what?
My brother and I came here today to ask of you, respectfully, of course, is that...
Sir, it's against university rules to steal from another student, plain and simple.
You've spoken to your housemaster.
Yes, sir. And the housemaster made a recommendation to the ad board, but the ad board won't see us.
Have you tried dealing with the other student directly?
Mark Zuckerberg hasn't been responding to any of our emails or phone calls for the last 2 weeks. He doesn't answer when we knock on his door at Kirkland, and the closest we've come to dealing with him face to face is when I saw him on quad and chased him through Harvard Square.
You chased him.
I saw him, and I know he saw me, and I went after him, but he disappeared.
I don't see this as a university issue.
Of course, this is a university issue. There's a code of ethics and an honor code, and he violated them both.
You entered into a code of ethics with the university, not with each other.
I'm sorry, President Summers. What you just said made no sense at all to me.
Oh, I'm devastated by that.
What my brother means is that if Mark Zuckerberg walked into our dorm room and stole our computer, that would be a university issue, right?
I really don't know. This office doesn't handle petty larceny.
This isn't petty larceny.
Get tight.
This idea is potentially worth millions of dollars.
Millions.
Yes.
You might be letting your imaginations run away with you.
Sir, I honestly don't think you're in any position to make that call.
I was U.S. Treasury Secretary. I'm in some position to make.
Letting our imaginations run away with us is exactly what we were told to do in your freshman address.
Well, I would suggest that you let your imaginations run away with you on a new project.
You would.
Yes, everyone at Harvard is inventing something. Harvard undergraduates believe that inventing a job is better than finding a job. So I'll suggest again that the two of you come up with a new project.
I'm sorry, sir, but that's not the point.
Please arrive at the point.
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
And you're saying that I don't.
Of course, I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that.
Really?
Sir.
And how did they get this appointment?
Anne.
Anne? Prepare to be fired, Anne. Oh, it was probably colleagues of their father.
Summer gives a quick nod. That's what he thought.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Winklevoss and Mr. Winklevoss. Since you're on the subject of right and wrong, this action, this meeting, the two of you being here is wrong. It's not what Harvard. It's not what Harvard saw in you. You don't get special treatment.
Oh, we've never...
Start another project. Like we're making a diorama for the science fair?
And if you have a problem with that, Mr. Winklevoss,
we've never asked for special treatment.
The courts are always at your disposal. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, you could take the Harvard student handbook and shove it up your...
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
To Interior Summer's outer office day. As Cameron and Tyler exit, Tyler closes the door a little too hard and the brass doorknob comes off in his hand. He drops it on the secretary's desk as he exits.
I broke your 335-year-old doorknob.
Cut to Interior First Deposition Room day. Eduardo, spring break. You and Mr. Zuckerberg took a trip to New York.
Yes.
What was the purpose of the trip?
CFO, I set up some meetings with potential advertisers.
Who paid for the trip?
It was paid for out of the $1,000 account I'd set up a few months earlier.
At this point, your $1,000 was the only money that had been put into the company?
Yes.
How did you feel the meetings went?
They went terribly.
Why?
Mark was asleep.
I wasn't asleep.
Can I rephrase my answer?
Sure.
I wish he had been asleep.
Cut to Interior Ad Executives Day. Eduardo in a three-piece suit is pitching the executive. Mark in his hoodie and flip-flops is completely detached and staring at the floor.
And we're at 29 schools now with over 75,000 members. People who go up on the Facebook tend to stay on longer than almost any other site. Now, here's the most impressive statistic. 91% of people who try it once will come back. Now, if you'll allow me.
Excuse me 1 second. What sound is he making? Is that like a tsk?
It wasn't a tisk. It was a like a glottal stop, almost a gag reflex.
Guys, what is this?
Cut back to Interior First Deposition Room Day. There was one more meeting scheduled for the New York trip.
Yes, it was a dinner. It was set up through my girlfriend at the time.
Would you say that Mark was excited about this meeting?
Yes, very.
Cut to Interior 66 Night. 66 is a hip, trendy restaurant in Tribeca. The young crowd is drinking cocktails and all different colors and wearing Prada. We find Eduardo in a three-piece suit and Mark in his hoodie and flip-flops, along with Eduardo's now girlfriend, Christy, sitting at the table with an empty seat waiting.
They're not going to card us.
Might.
Look around.
It'll be embarrassing.
Tell them they're not going to card us.
They're not going to card us.
Mark.
Are you going to talk about ads again?
Well, unless you're the Ballet Theater of Hartford, the purpose of a business is to make a profit.
This isn't a business yet.
Well, that's tough for me because my job is to... Never mind.
Mark says nothing.
He's 25 minutes late.
He founded Napster when he was 19. He can be late.
He's not a god.
What is he?
25 minutes late.
I think Wardo's jealous.
Cut back to Interior First Deposition Room Day.
I honestly wasn't jealous. I was nervous.
Why?
I didn't know him at all, but I'd done a search and I'd asked around. He struck me as kind of a wild card.
Cut back to Interior 66 Night.
Why?
He crashed out of two pretty big internet companies in spectacular fashion, and he's had a reputation with drugs.
Also founded the companies.
We don't need him.
He's here.
Sean Parker has stepped into the restaurant and is saying hello to the hostess while hugging a waitress.
And he does own a watch.
Sean stops at the table to shake hands with a guy in a suit and kiss his girlfriend. It's sort of an incongruous sight, this 22-year-old kid who's been able to work a room like Sinatra. Who the hell is this?
Take your time, and he does own a watch.
Stop it.
Sean makes his way over to Mark's table.
I'm Sean.
How do you do?
And Christy, it's great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Anything?
We were waiting for...
Hey, baby boy.
Now some things with that ginger confit tartar clause.
Let's see, the tuna tartare with lobster claws. That'll get us started. Christy, what do you like to drink?
An apple teeny?
Great, 4 of those.
Cut to Interior First Deposition Room Day.
From that point on, it was a Sean-a-thon.
The question was, what did you talk about?
He took us through his episode with Napster.
Cut to Interior 66 Night. The camera is moving around the table as Sean, in and out of MOS, is telling story after story while food is brought. Drinks put down, more food brought, and more drinks put down. Mark is enthralled. Christy is sexy, and Eduardo is polite.
See, I didn't want to spend my 20s as a professional defendant. Who knew the music industry doesn't have a sense of humor? Who tried to sell the company to pay the $35 million they said we owed in royalties, but I guess to them that's a little like selling a stolen car to pay for the stolen gas. So we said, screw it, and declared bankruptcy.
But you made a name for yourself.
And you are dry. Tori,
No, I'm good.
Interior first deposition room, day.
And then he went on to his second business venture, which was an online Rolodex that he had got thrown out by Case Equity.
Interior 66, night.
And I want to do it nice this time. I want to put a tie on and I shine my shoes, but nobody wants to take orders from a kid. So let me tell you what happens to a 21-year-old at the top of a hot.com.
Cut back to interior first deposition room, day.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but
I'm glad we got that on the record.
You're not a psychiatrist, but what?
a psychiatrist would say he was paranoid.
Cut back to interior 66, night.
They'll hire private detectives who will follow you day and night. You're a target for high-priced escorts. I can't prove it, but I know my phones are being tapped. Whatever it is going to trip you up, you've done already. Private behavior is a relic of a time gone by. And if somehow, some way you've managed to live your life like the Dalai Lama, then they'll make shit up because they don't want you. They want your idea. And they want you to say thank you while you, wipe your chin and walk away.
That's what happened to you?
Cut back to interior first deposition room, day.
And delusional.
Cut back to interior 66, night.
Yes, there'll be payback at Chase. I brought down a record companies with Napster, and Case is going to suffer for their sins too.
You didn't bring down the record companies. They won.
In court.
Yes.
You want to buy a Tower Records, Eduardo?
Interior first deposition room, day.
And he told a story after story about life in Silicon Valley and parties at Stanford and down LA and friends who'd become millionaires. But mostly how Mark had to come to California. And then he got around to the Facebook.
Interior 66, night.
Tell me about your progress.
Well, we're in 29 schools now, and we have over 75,000
Tell me about the strategy you're
members.
using.
Okay, for instance, we wanted Baylor in Texas, but Baylor already had a social network on campus. So instead of going right after them, we made a list of every school within 100 miles.
Put the Facebook on those campuses first.
Pretty soon, all the Baylor kids were seeing their friends on our site. We were in.
It's called a Little Bighorn. That's smart, Mark.
Thank you, it was mine.
Easy.
Settle an argument for us, would you? I say it's time to start making money from the Facebook, but Mark doesn't want advertising. Who's right?
Well, neither of you yet. The Facebook is cool. That's what I was going for it.
Yeah,
You don't want to ruin it with ads because ads aren't cool.
exactly.
It's like throwing the greatest party on campus and someone's telling you it's got to be over by 11.
That's exactly right.
You don't even know what the thing is yet.
I said exactly that.
How big can it get and how far it can go? This is no time to take your chips down. $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? You.
Cut back to interior first deposition room, day.
$1 billion. And that shut everybody up.
Cut back to interior 66, night.
That's where you're headed. $1 billion valuation. Unless you take bad advice, in which case you may as well come up with a chain of very successful yogurt shops. When you go fishing, you can catch a lot of fish or you can catch a big fish. You ever walk into a guy's den and see a picture of him standing next to 14 trout?
No, he's holding a 3,000-pound marlin.
Yeah.
It's a good analogy.
Okay, but we all know that marlins don't really weigh 3,000 pounds, right?
Have you seen the big ones up close?
I haven't, but I don't think the guy's holding a marlin the size of a Range Rover. That would be a really big fish and a very strong guy.
You think we might be getting away from the point?
I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just a fan who came to say hi.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day.
He owned Mark after that dinner.
Cut back to interior 66, night. Sean signing the check.
He picked up the check. He told Mark they'd talk again soon, and he was gone. But not before he made his biggest contribution to the company.
Drop the. Just Facebook. It's cleaner.
And Sean heads out, patting backs and kissing waitresses along the way. After a moment,
Shit.
interior New York taxi cab, night.
That's got to be some kind of land speed record for talking.
Want to end the party at 11.
I'm trying to pay for the party.
There won't be a party unless it's cool. What'd you think?
Sure, let's drop the.
I meant catching the marlin instead of the 14 trout. Doesn't that sound good?
If you're a trout.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day. I'm going to enter this into the record. Incorporation papers for Facebook, an LLC registered in Florida. Why Florida?
It's where my family lives.
And asked the respondent to stipulate the articles of incorporation state that the ownership as follows: 65% for Mark Zuckerberg, 30% for Eduardo Saverin, and 5% for Dustin Moskovitz.
We stipulate.
And that was April 13th, 2004.
You can mark it.
Do you have anything here?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Saverin, have you ever done anything that might be considered legitimate grounds for termination?
No.
You never did anything to embarrass the company or even seriously jeopardize it?
No.
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 You were accused of animal cruelty.
Wait.
You weren't?
This isn't happening.
I have an article here from the Crimson.
Jesus Christ.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room, day.
I can't have this, Eduardo.
Mark's talking about the Crimson article in his hand. Eduardo is standing next to a crate that's holding, wait for it, a live chicken. Dustin is sitting at the desktop computer staring at something intently.
Oh, come on. Come on, this is bullshit. This is another club playing a prank.
Cut back to interior first deposition room, day.
I'd gotten into the Phoenix. I've been accepted, and as part of my initiation, I had to, for 1 week, carry with me at all times and take care of the chicken.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room, day.
They identify you as one of the founders of Facebook. Junior Eduardo Saverin. I'm not the expert, but being connected to torturing animals is probably bad for business.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day.
I did not torture the chicken. I don't torture chickens. Are you crazy?
No, and settle down, please. I have here an article from the Crimson.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room, day.
This is scathing.
956.
Interior first deposition room, day.
I was having dinner in the Kirkland dining hall with Mark, and I had the chicken with me because I had to have the chicken with me at all times. This was college.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room, day.
Somebody's gonna have to answer for this.
969.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day.
The dining hall was serving chicken for dinner, and I had to feed my chicken. So I took little pieces of chicken and I gave it to the chicken. Someone must have seen me because the next thing I was being accused of was forced cannibalism.
At the end of the table, Marilyn tries but fails to stifle a small laugh. Eduardo looks down at the table. Marilyn does her best to look serious.
I didn't know you can't do that. I dealt with various animal rights groups. I dealt with the associate dean of the college. It was just all resolved.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room, day.
988.
Someone from the pork. Someone from the pork or the fly must have reported it. For all I know, it was the Winklevosses.
All right, let's just forget about it.
It's absurd. I'm being accused of animal cruelty. It's better to be accused of necrophilia.
It is better to be accused of necrophilia.
I'm gonna have to explain this to my father. I'm gonna have to explain this to everybody. I'm gonna have to. What is happening on that?
Eduardo's referring to a laptop that's open and displaying images of 4 paintings.
I have my final coming up for post-war and contemporary art, and I haven't been to class. I'm supposed to write about those 4 paintings.
It's a Facebook page?
Yeah, I opened it under an alias. I posted the paintings and asked people to comment. Every once in a while, I hop on and stir the pot to get a good debate going.
Cut to interior first deposition room, day. Mr. Zuckerberg was cheating on his final exam.
I'd rather not answer that, Gretchen.
Why not?
Because I'm not suing him for cheating on his final exam. That's not what friends do.
Well, you just told us he was cheating.
Oops. You told your lawyers I was torturing animals?
No, he didn't tell us about it at all. Our litigators are capable of finding a crimson article. In fact, when we raised the subject with him, he defended you.
Oops.
Cut to interior Mark's dorm room day.
993. We're so close.
That reminds me, we're gonna need more money, Wardo.
Yeah, no, I agree. More service, more help.
I'm interviewing 2 interns to come to Palo Alto, and we're gonna have to pay them something.
What?
I already found a house for rent on a street 2 blocks from the Stanford campus. It's perfect, and it's got a pool.
When did you decide to go to California for the summer?
You mean, when did I actually decide?
Yeah, somewhere in the middle of Sean Parker Variety Hour.
He was right. California's the place we've got to be.
You're Jed Clampett.
I didn't know how you got the Beverly Hillbillies and
Yes. We've got the show in Brazil. It was genius.
what's your problem with Sean?
He doesn't bring anything to the table. He doesn't have money. Dustin's a better programmer.
He's got connections to VCs.
Yeah, we don't need VCs. We need advertisers, and I've got connections to VCs.
The real players. And
Look,
as someone who's just really embarrassed the company in a bad way, I wouldn't.
it was the Winklevosses, Mark.
Hang on. Hit refresh.
Dustin hits refresh on the desktop computer, then smiles.
150,004.
150,000 members, Wardo.
Congratulations, dude.
Congratulations.
You don't think it was strange that he was followed by private detectives?
Who came up with nothing?
Enough to get him out of the company, the drugs, the girls.
We don't know any of that's true.
You can read about it.
And I can read about you torturing birds.
The fish,
Since
the
when?
other fish, the marlins, the trout.
What's he talking about?
I'm interviewing interns at 10 tomorrow night in the CS lab. Get on board with this, man. You know, I don't know what else to say.
Cut to interior computer science building basement corridor, night. Eduardo steps to the double doors and stops for a moment as he hears an odd sound. Rocca's cheering from a crowd that's gathered in one of the classrooms. Eduardo walks down to the classroom, opens the door, and walks into interior classroom night, where 60 or so students are in a semicircle, 5 and 6 deep, cheering on the contestants for the internship. All the desks in the room have been moved to the sides, and 5 desks with laptops set up in the middle. Next to each laptop is a shot glass filled with Jack Daniels. Dustin's holding a watch, and Mark is walking slowly back and forth behind the 5 interviewees, who are intensely typing at their keyboards. Eduardo slowly makes his way through the crowd to Mark. He can see that on the computer screens are a whole lot of numbers and letters that neither he nor we can understand. He stands next to Mark and watches this for a moment. Every once in a while, one of the contestants will throw back their shot of Jack Daniels, which will instantly get refilled by a pretty Asian girl. Throughout all this, cheering continues.
Eduardo.
Yo, Mark?
Yeah.
What's going on?
They have 10 minutes to get root access to a Python web server, expose its SSL encryption, and then intercept all traffic over its secure ports.
They're hacking.
Yes. All behind a Pix firewall emulator. But here's the beauty.
You know I didn't understand anything you just said, right?
You do know that.
What's the beauty?
Every 10th line of code written, they have to drink a shot. And hacking's supposed to be stealth, so anytime the server detects an intrusion, the candidate responsible has to drink a shot. I also have a program running that has a pop-up window appear simultaneously on all 5 computers. The last candidate to hit the window has to drink a shot. Plus, every 3 minutes, they'll have to drink a shot.
3 minutes.
All 5 candidates drain their shot glasses and slam them down where they get refilled by the pretty Asian girl.
Can I ask, what part of the intern's job will they need to be able to do it drunk?
You're right. A more relevant test might be seeing if they can keep a chicken alive for a week. That was mean.
Eduardo hands Mark a thick envelope.
Here,
What's this?
I opened a new account and put $18,000 in it. Will that get you through the summer?
Mark looks at Eduardo. Suddenly, 2 of the candidates' hands shoot up almost at the same time.
Here.
Right here.
Mark glances over at the first screen and then the second.
Welcome to Facebook.
The place erupts. The pretty Asian girl hits an MP3 player that's been hooked up to the speakers, and a Dr. Dre song blares out. California, it's time to party. The two winners are hugging each other and getting wild congratulations from the crowd. Mark looks back at Eduardo and smiles. Eduardo gives him a pat on the back, and we cut to interior first deposition room, day. $18,000.
Yes.
In addition to the 1,000 you'd already put up.
Yes.
A total of 19,000 now.
Yes.
Hang on.
Mark scratching something out on a pad.
I'm just checking your math on that. Yes, I got the same thing.
May I continue? Mark motions yes. After expressing misgivings about Mr. Zuckerberg taking the company and moving it to California for the summer, why did you put 18,000 in an account for his use?
I figured we were partners and I wanted to be a team player. I figured Mark, Dustin, and the new interns could work on the site while I was generating advertiser interest in New York. But mostly I figured how much could go wrong in 3 months?
Cut to exterior Palo Alto house, day. We're outside of the small campus area house as loud music plays. A zip line is tied from the chimney and runs down over a small swimming pool where it's attached to a telephone pole on the other side. Mark is standing in the pool and videotaping as Dustin, who's over the roof, grabs a handle, takes off, and jumps into the pool as everyone cheers. We hear the guys joke about the quality of the jump. The handle gets pulled back on a rope and an intern grabs it, jumps, and the brick chimney comes crashing down. The intern drops into patio furniture as bricks from the chimney come cascading down. No one moves.
I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yikes.
At that moment, a stray brick drops from the roof and crashes through a glass patio table. From the inside, doorbell rings.
That's the doorbell.
I didn't know we had a doorbell.
Andrew, get the door.
No, he's wired in.
That's gonna cut into the security deposit.
Mark walks into interior Palo Alto house continuous. The place is computer geek paradise. Computers are everywhere, along with some empty boxes they came in. Pizza boxes, Chinese food containers, empty beer bottles, and whiteboards filled with indecipherable code filled the room. There are a couple of large mattresses on the floor and a large map of the US with pins and tags showing the schools where they've already put Facebook and different pins showing the schools they're going for. As Mark walks to the door, he walks past Andrew, who's sitting at a computer, writing code and completely oblivious to everything around him.
Andrew,
Not now.
good boy.
Mark gets to the door and opens it. He's stunned to see Sean Parker standing there with his girlfriend, Sharon. They all look at each other for a moment.
John?
Mark, would you live here?
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, we were right across the street. We saw the chimney come down.
Yeah.
Anybody hurt?
No. You live across the street?
I'm Sharon.
This is my Sharon. She lives across the street, and I was helping her move out when we saw the chimney.
Yeah, we had a zip line to the pool.
You came to California.
Yeah.
You made the right choice.
Cut to interior Palo Alto house later. Sean's looking around the place. Dustin and the interns are standing off to the side, happy to be in the presence of Sean Parker. Andrew's still locked onto his computer. Mark's off in the kitchen.
Here you go.
A beer comes flying out of the kitchen and Sean catches it.
Sharon?
Another beer comes flying out, which Sharon has no idea was coming, so it smashes into the fireplace.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were going to do.
No problem. Here you go.
Wait.
Another bottle comes flying out that Sharon isn't ready for, and it crashes to the floor.
This house and this team are great. It's exactly what it should be. I'm Sean Parker.
Andrew pays no attention as Mark comes out of the kitchen.
He's wired in.
That's what I'm talking about. Where's Eduardo?
He's got an internship in New York.
Eduardo didn't come out?
Mark shakes his head no. Cut to interior Ruby Psych continuous. an ultra-hip San Francisco nightclub. It's a 100-years-old theater that's been converted into a 21st century hotspot for Silicon Valley's rock stars. The lower level is a giant dance floor packed with sweating 20-somethings bouncing to pounding house music. There are raised blocks where scantily dressed professional dancers perform nonstop. A huge lighting grid hangs from the ceiling, shooting colored lights and lasers everywhere. Also hanging from the ceiling are two trapeze bars with two performers swinging and contorting. The staircase leads to a second level, which is all VIP tables that look out over the dance floor. Each VIP area has a couple of couches and a table covered in bottles of vodka, tequila, rum, mixers, ice, glasses, and a private waitress who's happy to bend over and pour a drink for you. And that's where we catch up with Mark and Sean. Sitting next to Sean is a beautiful woman, and there's another standing behind him, leaning against the couch. Mark and Sean have to speak above the music.
I was crashing there for a little while I was taking care of some things, but she's gone for the summer, so she's back at her parents' place.
The homeless rock star of Palo Alto.
So what's your plan for the summer?
Mark has been subtly checking out the club and not paying attention.
Mark.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the architecture.
Sean smiles.
I asked what your plan.
Oh, 100 schools by the end of the summer.
I'm going to the restroom.
Okay.
I'll go with you.
The two girls exit.
Your date looks so familiar to me.
She looks familiar to a lot of people.
What do you mean?
Sean takes a sip of his drink.
Stanford MBA named Roy Raymond wants to buy his wife some lingerie, but he's too embarrassed to shop for it in a department store. He comes up with an idea for a high-end place that doesn't make you feel like a pervert. He gets a $40,000 bank loan and borrows another $40,000 from his in-laws, opens a store and calls it Victoria's Secret. He makes $500,000 in his first year. He starts a catalog, opens 3 more stores, and after 5 years, he sells the company to Leslie Wexner and a limited for $4 million. Happy ending, right? Except 2 years later, the company's worth $500 million, and Roy Raymond jumps off the Golden Gate Bridge. Poor guy just wanted to buy his wife a nice pair of thigh highs, you know?
Is that a parable?
My date's Victoria's Secret model. That's why she looks familiar to you.
God.
Don't be embarrassed by all this. I read your blog.
Oh, that was...
You know why I started Napster? A girl I loved in high school was with the co-captain of the varsity lacrosse team, and I wanted to take her from him. So I decided to come up with the next big thing.
I didn't know that.
Napster wasn't a failure. I changed the music industry for the better and for always. It may not have been good business, but I pissed a lot of people off. And wasn't that what your face mash was about? They're scared of me, pal, and they're gonna be scared of you. That's what the VCs want, is for you to say, good idea, kid. The grown-ups will take it from here, but not this time. This is our time. This time you're gonna hand them a business card that says, I'm CEO, bitch. That's what I want for you. So where the hell's Eduardo?
He's in New York.
Sucking up to an ad exec.
He's got an
internship? Look, the company's here. $1 billion company is here. Do you live and breathe Facebook?
Yes.
Eduardo wants to be a businessman, and for all I know, he's going to be a good one, but he shouldn't be in New York kissing Madison Avenue's ass. This is a once-in-a-generation holy shit idea, and the water under the Golden Gate Bridge is freezing cold. Look at my face and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
You ever think about the girl?
What girl?
The girl in high school who was with the lacrosse thing.
No.
The girls come back.
If you guys are going to talk about bandwidth, we need shots.
So 100 schools by the end of the summer?
Yeah.
Tell you what, gesture of good faith. While you're getting into 100 schools, I'm going to put you on 2 continents.
If you don't have a place to crash, I think you should definitely come and live with us.
Let's sign up some shots. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
You can take this away and bring out the 1942.
Absolutely, Mr. Parker.
Mark takes this in a moment before we cut to exterior the Thames Day. We're looking at a stone bridge crossing a perfectly straight stretch of water against the backdrop of a medieval town of Henley, England, founded in 1179. After a moment of placid quiet, whoosh, two razor-thin skulls explode for the final agonizing 100-meter stretch of the ancient and prestigious Henley Royal Regatta. The two boats are neck and neck. The port side boat is being crewed by two Dutch members of the Hollandia Row Club. The starboard boat is being crewed by a pair of identical twins wearing tank tops bearing the H of Harvard. We hear the roar come up from the crowd in the viewing section. The crowd is dressed as if for opening day of an ascot. The women in flowing dresses and wide-brimmed hats. The men in blazers and brightly colored floral ties. But the young men in the boats can barely hear the crowd, just their own breathing as they pull against the longest natural straight stretch of water in the world. A 1.5 mile torture test against the best competition they've ever faced. And they're neck and neck. Cameron and Tyler can't shake the Dutch. The crowd is going crazy. Mixed in with the British crowd is a small contingent waving the flag of Holland and a slightly larger contingent of Americans. We'll notice a stoic man in the VIP viewing section, and later we'll be introduced to him as Cameron and Tyler's father. Next to him is their mother, who can barely watch. Back on the boats, it's just breathing in the skulls sliced through the water like jet-powered knives. 50 meters now, and there's still no daylight between them. 25 meters and the Dutch and American fans are going crazy. Even the British aristocracy can't help but get caught up in the closest race in history of the competition. The father is silently willing his boys one more fraction of the boat speed. The mother has her hands over her mouth in praying position. Pop! The final gun, or the finish gun, is fired into the air. The oars come out of the water and the bodies of the crewmen slump over. Cameron turns his head to the cheering crowd to see the Dutch group holding their giant flag and jumping up and down. The Americans bring their giant flag down and hold it and fold it up. The two Dutch crew members pump their fists in the air and hug as the two boats skim along to a gentle stop. The mother drops her head and looks down. The father refuses to look away. From Cameron and Tyler, just the breathing. Cut to interior award ceremony day. Cameron and Tyler are watching as the Dutch team is having their picture taken with the newly won trophy in the press room. Tyler doesn't want to watch anymore and steps into interior reception room, continuous, where the aide greets him. Mr. Winklevoss?
Tyler,
Tremendous race.
thank you.
Cameron comes along.
This is my brother, Cameron.
Excellent. Sir, His Royal Highness, Prince Albert.
Yes,
Your Highness, this is Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss.
of course. Brilliant race. I've never seen a race that close.
Yes, sir.
My grandfather, Jack Kelly, was one of the premier rowers of his day. I've been coming to Henley for 30 years and I've never seen a race that close. Have you seen a race that close?
Cameron is thinking about starting a war with Monaco right now, so he lets his brother do the talking.
No, Your Highness. 1.5 mile races are more commonly won by a boat length or two.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Brutally close.
May I introduce my teammates? This is Dave. He's our...
I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse us.
On to the Dutch.
Cameron and Tyler step over to Divya, who's waiting near the bar.
I'm sorry you had to fly all the way over to see that.
I wouldn't have missed it, brother. How was the royalty?
I just wanted him to tell me a couple more times how close the race was. A couple more times. Oh, brutal. It was brutally close. Excruciatingly brutal. Never seen a race so excruciatingly. Jesus.
That was an unusual outburst from Cameron.
Cam, the guy's the prince of a country the size of Nantucket. Relax, it's fine.
Mr. Winklevoss has made his way over.
Boys,
Dad?
Divya,
Mr. Winklevoss.
that was a tough beat.
I'm sorry that you and Mom flew all the way.
No, don't you ever apologize to me for losing a race like that. Don't ever apologize to anyone for losing a race like that.
Another man comes along, Mr. Kenwright.
Boys,
Oh, Mr. Kenwright. Dad, this is Mr. Kenwright, the head of our host family this week.
pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I just got off the phone with my daughter. She tells me that she and her friends are already talking about the race, which they've seen via their computers. The website called Facebook. Do you have this in America?
Everyone is frozen.
I'm gonna find your mother.
Have I said something wrong?
Your daughter doesn't go to school in the States.
No. Cambridge, majoring in French literature, although I wasn't aware there was such a thing.
They have Facebook at Cambridge?
And apparently Oxford and the London School of Economics. That's where her friends are.
That's awesome.
Good race, boys. Take the bitter with the better.
The men leave. Cameron, Tyler, and Divya are alone. Cameron looks at them for a moment.
I'm going to watch the race film. If this is online, I want to see it.
Stop it. Stop it, Cameron. Knock it off. I don't mind that we lost to the Dutch today by less than a second. That was a good race. That was a fair race, and they'll see us again. What I mind, and what you should mind, is showing up on Monday for a race that was run on Sunday. We tried talking to him ourselves. We tried writing a letter. We tried the ad board, and we tried the president of the university. Now I'm asking you, for the last time, let's take the considerable resources at our disposal and sue him in federal court.
Cameron looks at his brother and Divya.
Come on.
I need a real drink.
Cameron takes a few steps away as Tyler and Divya drop their heads and surrender, but then Cameron turns right back.
Screw it. Let's get the freaking nerd.
Divya grabs Cameron and hugs him.
That's what I'm talking about.
Interior Palo Alto house, night. There's a thunderstorm going on outside and rain is beating hard against the windows. Dustin, Andrew, and the interns are hard at work writing code. Green Day is pumping from the speakers. Sean is pacing the house on a cordless phone while two young women, dressed up to go out for a party, are at the moment each on a free computer playing each other in a game of Counter-Strike. Basically, they're shooting at each other and missing and laughing their heads off. It wouldn't appear as if the house had been cleaned up since the last time we saw it. And in fact, there are signs of more wreckage, as well as the futons, pillows, and blankets on the floor. There's also a 12-foot bong that reaches the middle landing of the staircase.
Check it out. I saw him today. Mitchell Manningham, my case equity guy. Hang on. Are you guys doing spikes or ghost missiles?
We don't know. We're just shooting at each other.
The doorbell rings, but no one pays attention.
Use sweet kamikazes.
Like we know what that is.
Now there's a knocking at the door, and we cut to exterior Palo Alto house, night. Rain is soaking down on Eduardo as he stands at the front door with the suitcase in his hand. A taxi is turning around in the driveway and heading off. Eduardo knocks on the front door again as we cut back to interior Palo Alto house, night.
Look, I saw him getting into his Turbo Carrera, and he saw me too. I know he did. Don't sweat it. I'm on a landline.
Sean leaves over to one of the girls, casually hits a few keys, and easily kills several of the other girls' soldiers.
Yes.
Hey, ew, no woo-woo.
Bong hit.
She has to take one as a penalty.
Does anybody hear that banging?
You don't hear anything. You're writing code.
Dude, somebody's at the door.
Sean goes back to the phone conversation as he heads to the door.
It's not a dish best served cold. It's best served immediately and relentlessly.
Sean opens the door and the soaking wet Eduardo is standing there.
I'm gonna call you back. What's up?
What's up? Mark's supposed to pick me up at the airport an hour ago. I've been calling his cell.
He was on a 36-hour coding tear, so he took a nap for a couple of hours.
Eduardo walks into the house and surveys the wreckage.
What happened here?
Not happened, happening. The next big thing.
Wardo.
Hey, man.
Back to work.
The more bad I get it.
Ew, girl.
My bad.
The more bad I get at this, the more wasted I get. I meant the more, yeah. What? Yeah.
Yeah, we understand. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
How old are they, Sean?
It's not polite to ask.
Sean, how old are they?
You think you know me, right?
I've read enough.
You know how much I've read about you? Nothing.
Mark comes down the stairs.
Eduardo.
I waited an hour for you at the airport.
What time is it?
It's midnight. It's 3 a.m. in New York, where I just came from.
Gotta see some of the new stuff we've got. Dustin, show him the wall. I'm just calling.
Forget the wall. Tell him about the meeting I've got set up. You know Peter Thiel?
No.
No reason you should. He just runs a $2 billion hedge fund called Clarium Capital.
Why is he setting up meetings?
Thiel may want to make an angel investment.
I don't care if he's an actual angel. Why is he setting up business meetings?
You've had a long flight.
No, I've had a long wait on the tarmac at JFK, then a long wait at the passenger loading and unloading at the SFO. In between, there was a long flight. I'm the business end of the company, and he's a house guest living here rent-free on a generous grant from the Eduardo Foundation.
I heard about your big ticket ad buys lined up.
Amen.
Look, Garrett's tuxedo, bartending course. You're just one small step away from bagging Snooki's cookies. I can feel it.
Talk to you on for a minute?
Sure.
Look, a bong hit.
I'm so high.
You're not.
Eduardo's followed Mark into interior kitchen continuous.
How's it going? How's the internship? How's Christy?
How's the internship?
Yeah.
Mark, Jesus, I quit the internship. We've talked about this on the phone. Were you in? I quit on my first day.
I do remember you saying that. How's Christy?
Christy's crazy.
Is that fun?
No, I mean, she's actually psychotic. She's insanely jealous. She's irrational. And I'm frightened of her.
Still, it's nice you have a girlfriend.
I do not want that guy representing himself as part of this company.
You got to move out, Eduardo. This is where it's all happening.
Did you hear what I just said?
The connections, the energy.
Mark,
I'm afraid if you don't come out here, you're going to get left behind. I need you out here. Please don't tell him I said that.
what did you just say?
It's moving faster than any of us ever imagined, and
What do you mean, get left behind?
it's moving fast, and Sean even thinks that
Sean is not part of this company.
we have over 300,000 members, Wardo. We're in 160 schools, including
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
5 in Europe.
I'm aware of that. Mark, I'm CFO.
We need more servers than I ever imagined we need. We need more programmers and need more money. And he set up the Thiel meeting. He set up meetings all around town.
You set up other meetings
Yes,
without me knowing anything about it?
we were in New York.
I'm in New York, riding subways 14 hours a day, trying to find advertisers.
And how's it going so far?
What do you mean get left behind?
Eduardo looks at Mark for a long moment before we cut to Interior Bank of America branch day. Eduardo comes to the doors with single-minded intent, heads past the tellers and straight to a desk where he takes a bank book out of his pocket and slaps it on the desk.
Can I help you?
I'd like to freeze this bank account and cancel all existing checks and line of credit.
May I see some ID, please?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Step 2, exterior established street, San Francisco skyscraper day. 80 stories of polished granite. Interior Thiel's office day. We're in the offices of a guy who's a hero, whose hero is Gordon Gekko. Mark and Sean are waiting, seated side by side, waiting for a verdict. Sean's wearing his best Prada. Mark's wearing his hoodie and Adidas flip-flops. After a moment, an assistant comes out.
Sean, he'll be right with you.
No problem. You know, this is where they filmed the Towering Inferno.
It's comforting.
Office doors open and Peter Thiel sticks his head out.
Hey guys, come on back.
They get up and walk into Interior Thiel's office continuous. Several of Thiel's lieutenants are sitting around.
Should I offer you guys some waters?
Sean, come on in. You must be Mark.
Hi.
We took a look at everything and congratulations. We're going to start you off with a $500,000 investment. Maurice is going to talk to you about some corporate restructuring.
We'll file up as a corporation in Delaware and come up with a stock structure that allows for new investors.
Now, let me ask you something. Who's Eduardo Severin?
Cut to interior Eduardo's apartment night. A summer sublet, a studio apartment the size of a small tool shed. Eduardo is asleep on the covers in an unair-conditioned apartment when he wakes up to the sound of a key in the door. One lock unlocks, then another, and then the last. The door opens and Christy is framed in the dingy light of the hallway.
Jesus Christ.
When did you get back?
You scared me. I need you to knock.
When did you get back?
I got back this afternoon.
And when were you going to call me?
Chris, it was kind of a rough trip and I'm tired and...
Or answer one of my 47 texts. Did you know that I sent 47 texts?
Yeah, I did. And I thought it was incredibly normal behavior.
Are you mocking me?
I bought you a present.
Why does your status say single on your Facebook page?
What?
Why does your relationship status say single on your Facebook page?
I was single when I set up the page.
And you just never bothered to change it?
I
What?
don't know how.
Do I look stupid to you?
Jesus, no, calm down.
You're asking me to believe that the CFO of Facebook doesn't know how to change his relationship status on Facebook.
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. So could you take it as a sign of trust that I would tell you that?
Go to hell.
Take it easy.
No, you didn't change it so you could screw Silicon Valley sluts every time you go out to see Mark.
That is not even remotely true. And I can promise you that the Silicon Valley sluts don't care what anyone's relationship status is on Facebook. Please open your present.
Eduardo's cell phone rings.
Oh, your phone does work.
Eduardo reaches for his cell, but Christy grabs it first to check the ID.
It's Mark.
Christy tosses the still ringing phone back to him.
Okay, this is gonna be tricky. Here, open your present. It's a silk scarf.
Have you ever seen me wear a silk scarf?
Yeah, this will be the first.
Eduardo's gotten the gift box out of his half-unpacked suitcase, tossed it to Christy, and finally answered the phone.
Yeah.
Intercut with interior Palo Alto house, same time.
You froze our account?
In the background, there's a small celebration going on with Sean, Dustin, and the interns, and of course, some girls. Champagne is being sprayed from shaken bottles, and the girls are dancing to triumphant music.
I did.
You froze the account.
I had to get your attention, Mark.
Do you realize that you jeopardized the entire company? Do you realize that your actions could have permanently destroyed everything I've been working on?
We've been working on.
Without money, the site can't function. Let me tell you the difference between Facebook and everybody else. We don't crash ever.
What Eduardo can't see behind his back is that Christy has taken the gift box and lit it on fire with a cigarette lighter.
If the servers are down for even a day, our entire reputation is irreversibly destroyed. Users are fickle. Friendster has proven that fact.
And Christy's now dropped the flaming cardboard box into the wastebasket where the fire grows larger. She casually kicks the basket over with her foot.
Look.
Even a few people leaving would reverberate through the entire user base. The users are interconnected. That's the whole point. College kids are online because their friends are online. And if one domino goes, all the dominoes go. Do you get that? I'm not going back to Caribbean night at AE Pie.
Shit. What's wrong with you?
Did you like being nobody? Did you like being a joke? Do you want to go back to that?
No, hang on.
Eduardo hits a button on his cell and tosses it down. We'll keep hearing Mark's voice as Eduardo runs into the hallway, grabs a fire extinguisher from the wall bracket, comes back in and sprays the fire.
That was the act of a child, not a businessman. And it certainly wasn't the act of a friend. You know how embarrassed I was for me to try and cash a check today? I'm not going back to that life. Maybe you were frustrated.
Yeah.
Maybe you were angry.
I was.
But I'm willing to let bygones be bygones because, Eduardo, I've got some good news.
Eduardo, with the fire now out, picks up the phone.
I'm sorry, I was angry and maybe it was childish, but I had to get your attention.
Eduardo, I said I've got some good news.
What is it?
Peter Thiel's just made an angel investment of $500,000.
What?
$500,000, and he's setting us up in an office. They want to reincorporate the company. They want to meet you. They need your signature on some documents. So get your ass on the next flight back to San Francisco. I need my CFO.
I'm on my way.
Mardo.
Yeah.
We did it.
Eduardo clicks the phone shut. After a moment,
Wardo!
and Eduardo jumps because Christy is standing behind him.
You going back there already?
Yes. Also, I'm breaking up with you.
Cut to interior Facebook office day. A glass conference room in the corner of a glass bullpen on a high floor of a high rise. Cartons are being unpacked. Computers are everywhere, along with bags of potato chips and boxes of cereal. In the conference room, Eduardo is sitting with 3 lawyers at a round glass table, and documents have been put out in front of him. We can see through the glass that Mark is working at a computer nearby. Sean is hovering in the background.
4 documents. The first 2 are common stock purchase agreements, allowing you to buy stock in the newly reincorporated Facebook, as opposed to the old shares, which are now worthless. The third is the exchange agreement, allowing you to exchange the old shares for new shares, and then finally a voter holding agreement.
How many shares of stock will I own?
1,328,334.
Jesus Christ.
That represents a 34.4% ownership share. Why the increase from the original 30%?
Because you may need to dilute it to the award shares to new investors.
I like working with business majors.
Economics.
You should know that Mark's already taken his percentage from 60 down to 51.
Mark doesn't care about money and he needs to be protected.
Dustin Moskovitz owns 6.81%, Sean Parker 6.47%.
Can live with that.
And Peter Thiel 7%. Would you like to use my pen?
Cut to interior first deposition room evening. It's dusk now, and the sky outside the room is turning purple. Eduardo seems lost in thought. Eduardo? Eduardo looks up.
Could you please repeat the question?
No, it was an outrageously leading question the first time around, and now you want us to hear it again?
Yes. Would you read it back, please?
Well, go ahead. Oh, they got cast court reporter.
I'll be your court reporter. Counsel, and when you signed these documents, were you aware that you were signing your own death certificate?
No. It was insanely stupid of me not to have my own lawyers look over all the honestly, I thought they were my lawyers. I was your only friend. You had one friend. My father won't even look at me.
Okay. Eduardo, did Mr. Zuckerberg say anything to you after you signed the papers?
There was a lot of handshaking, a lot of congratulations. He had already told me that he wouldn't be coming back to school for at least a semester, so we were saying goodbye for a while. And then before I left, he said,
Cut to interior Facebook office day.
But you got to come back. Somewhere around the end of November, early December. Peter wants to throw us an amazing party when we hit 1 million members. It's going to be out of control. You've got to come back for it.
1 million members.
Yeah.
Remember the algorithm on the window at Kirkland?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be here.
To exterior San Francisco street day. A brand new black Escalade pulls up in front of the gleaming glass and chrome office building. Sean is at the wheel, and Mark, in the passenger seat, is wearing brightly colored pajamas with his hair a mess. They get out of the car and huddle on the sidewalk.
You sure about this?
You're 20 minutes late. You're going to walk in there and say you overslept, but didn't have time to get dressed. They're going to pitch you. Case Equity is going to pitch you. They're going to beg you to take their money. You're going to nod, you're going to nod, you're going to nod, and then you're going to say, which one of you is Roth? No, not Roth. Manningham. Which one of you is Mitchell Manningham? They'll say, I am. And you say, Sean Parker says, fuck you, and walk out.
Okay.
Cut to interior first deposition room, evening.
In late November, I got the email from Mark telling me to come out for the 1,000th member party.
What else did the email say?
It said that we had to have a business meeting, that Mark and Sean had played some kind of revenge stunt on Case Equity, and that Manningham was so impressed that he was making an investment offer that was hard to turn down.
Cut to interior new Facebook offices night.
I went out to California and I went straight to the new offices.
And it's clear that we're in the offices of a new, high-tech, very successful internet company. The Facebook logo in blue metallic letters on the wall. The maple desks, new computer monitors, carpeting, a wall covered in graffiti by an artist commissioned for the job, and tons of young employees.
I didn't know whether to dress for the party or the business meeting, so I kind of dressed for both.
We see that most of the employees, especially the women, are dressed up to go to an after-work late-night party.
But it didn't matter
Why not?
because I wasn't called there for either one.
Cut to interior first deposition room, evening. What were you called out there for?
An ambush.
Cut back to interior new Facebook offices night.
Mr. Saverin, hey.
Eduardo turns to see the lawyer he dealt with earlier standing by the door to a glass conference room.
In here, right over here.
Eduardo walks across the bullpen where no one makes eye contact and into interior conference room, continuous.
At first, I thought he was joking, giving me more contracts to sign. But then I started reading.
As Eduardo reads, we rack focus to Mark, who's sitting at a computer with his back to Eduardo, focused on his work. And then we see Sean step into frame and lean against a desk a few yards away. And then back to Eduardo, who's almost shaking.
Wait, what is this?
Well, as you know, we had some new investors.
What is this?
If you'll let me.
Eduardo goes back out into interior bullpen, continuous.
Mark?
Mark doesn't look up from his computer.
Mark!
Mark still doesn't look up.
He's wired in.
I'm sorry?
He's wired in.
Is he?
Yes.
Eduardo picks up Mark's laptop over his head and smashes it down on the desk, breaking it into pieces.
How about now? He's still wired in?
Call security.
Everyone in the office is frozen, silent, and watching.
You issued over 24 million new shares of stock.
You were told that if new investors came along,
How much were your shares diluted? How much were his?
Cut to interior first deposition room, evening. What was Mr. Zuckerberg's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Mr. Moskowitz's ownership shares diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Sean Parker's ownership shares diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What were Peter Thiel's ownership shares diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was your ownership share diluted down to?
0.03%.
Cut to interior new Facebook offices, night.
you signed the papers.
You set me up.
You're going to blame me because you were the business head of the company and you made a bad business deal with your own company?
It's going to be like I'm not even part of Facebook.
Oh, it
It
won't
won't
be
be-
like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
I want to check that again.
Eduardo is momentarily frozen.
Is it because I froze the account?
You think we're going to let you parade around in your ridiculous suits pretending you were running this company?
Sorry! My product at the cleaners along with my hoodie and my fucking flip-flops, you pretentious douchebag!
Security's here. You'll be leaving now.
2 security guards come in.
I'm not signing those papers.
Oh, we'll get the signature.
Tell me this isn't about me getting into the Phoenix. You did it. I always knew you did. You planted the story about the chicken.
What is he talking about?
You had me accused.
Seriously, what the hell's the chicken?
And I'll bet that you hated the most is that they've identified me as the co-founder of Facebook, which I am. You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for my 30%. I'm coming for everything.
Get him out of here.
I'm going.
Oh, hang on.
Sean hands Eduardo a folded check.
I almost forgot. There's your 19,000. I wouldn't cash it though. I do it on the account.
Eduardo looks at Sean, then suddenly and quickly cocks his fist back to punch him in the face. Sean flinches as Eduardo holds his punch and lets out a small laugh.
I like standing next to you, Sean. Makes me look so tough.
Eduardo exits with the security escort. There's a long silence in the room.
Well, that's it. That's our show for tonight, people. So I want to see everybody here geared up for a party. We're going to walk down the club like it's Macy's parade. Mackie, put it up on the big screen. We almost got to be there.
A young employee hits a remote and a few keys on his computer, and a huge flat screen displays a Facebook page with a readout of the number of members, 999,942. There's scattered applause and excitement as everyone watches. Sean takes Mark's side.
You all right?
Yeah. You were kind of rough on him.
That's life in the NFL.
You know, you didn't have to be that rough on him.
Listen, I'm putting together a party.
Sean, you didn't have to be that rough on him.
He almost killed it. I'll send flowers. Speaking of flowers, I'm putting together a party for the after at the Kappa Eta Sigma. Ashley's a sister.
Ashley?
The intern.
No, yeah, I know who she is. Are you guys...
Ashley? Me? No. A little bit. Oh, no. Do you like her? Dude.
No, I was just... No.
An intern, Ashley, comes along with a small package.
Excuse me, Mark.
Oh, we were just talking about you.
Just that you're doing a really good job.
Thanks. I appreciate that. These came in for you.
Put them on my desk.
Ashley puts a small package on Mark's desk.
What's the package?
Nothing.
Mackie! Mackie!
Yes, sir.
Refresh!
Mackie hits the refresh key and the big screen shows 1,046,000. Cheers erupts through the place. Sean grabs Mark and hugs him, but Mark doesn't quite hug back. Cut to exterior sorority house night. We can hear the thumping music coming from the party inside, and college kids have spilled out into the front lawn of this pristine, four-columned house. Interior sorority house night. It's dark, but we can make out people dancing. The place is packed. Cut to interior bedroom night. We hear thumping music from the party. Sean's in there with a couple of guys, Ashley and two other girls. Sean's got a cell phone out and will snap a picture every once in a while.
Do it on anything. You can use a CD.
You can do it off me.
The girl sat on the bed and unbuttoned her top. Her shirt's unbuttoned all the way, but we can't really see anything. Just the part of her chest that's being used as a surface off to which snort coke.
All right.
The girl taps out some coke from a vial onto the other girl's chest and starts passing around a rolled up $20 bill for everyone to have a turn. And she herself will unbutton her shirt too for the same purpose. All this while Sean is talking.
The next transformative development, a picture sharing application, a place where you can view pictures that coincide with your social life. It is the true digitization of real life. You don't just go to a party anymore. You go to a party with your digital camera and your friends relive the party on Facebook and tagging. The idea.
Would this be easier without the bra?
It's worth finding out.
The girls start happily slipping off their bras.
I've spent hours watching what people do when they log on.
Wait, that's weird. Why did the music stop?
Ashley has a point. The music stopped in the middle of Sean's speech, and the sound outside from the party just doesn't sound like a party anymore.
How they check their friend status updates, check to see what their friends have changed on their profiles, change their profiles, and mostly...
Seriously, what happened to the music?
We lived on farms when we lived in cities, and now we're going to live on the internet.
Sean, stop. I think something's going on downstairs.
Sean stops talking. He senses it now, too. Sean walks out of the room to the interior staircase landing continuous. And with the window, he sees a fleet of police cars and their lights flashing parked in front of the house. Then, before he can react, the front door flies open. Police with flashlights walk in, the beams of light streaking across the darkened party floor and the faces. We hear muffled murmurs from the cops of "Party's over, step to the side, nobody's leaving just yet," etc. Sean bolts back into interior bedroom continuous, leaving the door open.
The cops.
And they all spring into action. The girls are putting their bras back on. Sean is wiping down a night table with the palm of his hand to get the coke dust off.
Shit.
Be cool.
They turn to see two policemen standing in the doorway, their flashlights scanning the room and hitting Sean's eyes.
Good to see you, officer. What can I do for you?
What's going on?
Was the music too loud? We have a celebration going.
Miss, I need you to button your blouse.
I can have them turn the music down.
One of the policemen casually takes Sean's hand and sees that his palm looks like he just used it to erase a blackboard.
That's not mine.
Okay, we're gonna need identification. Keep your hands where we can see them.
And the handcuffs start to come out, and we've got a room of terrified children.
Oh my God.
We start to move in on Sean.
You got anything in your pockets I should know about?
No, sir. No,
Don't be stupid now.
I don't.
What's this?
It's an EpiPen.
And this?
That's my inhaler.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
I'm 21.
Lying only makes it worse.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lied.
Sean closes his eyes at hearing the news as we hear the sound of the cuffs lock around his wrists. And we cut to interior new Facebook offices night. A digital LED clock on the wall tells us it's 4:40 a.m. Mark is sitting at his computer alone. No one else is in the office. The San Francisco skyline is beautiful outside, the floor-to-ceiling glass. His cell phone rings and he answers.
Hello?
Intercut with exterior police station night. Sean, freezing with no coat on, is sitting on the bottom of the steps to the police station.
Listen, something's happened.
We see Mark listening on his end, but we can't hear Sean's end of the conversation.
Shit.
No, it's all right. It's gonna be all right. I posted bomb and I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I've got allergies, so I can't.
We're back on Mark's side. He listens.
Interns?
Back on Sean's side.
It's just a party.
This is gonna be news, Sean. It's gonna be online any second.
I know.
You know, with an intern, and
It's cool. I've got it under control.
I'll get it under control. I'll call someone and see what the next move is. But this is gonna be news now.
You don't think Eduardo was involved, do you? But do you think,
No.
or Manningham, one of them, somebody sent that coke in there because it got in there. You believe me? This is gonna be fine, right?
Go home, Sean.
Mark clicks the phone shut. He sits there a moment. He looks at the small package that Ashley dropped on his desk earlier. He opens up the brown paper wrapping and there's a box. He opens the box, 1,000 brand new business cards. He takes one of the business cards out and looks at it. "I'm CEO, bitch." And over this, we hear a woman's voice.
Mark?
Cut to interior first deposition room night. Mark is sitting alone in the conference room. The only one left is Marilyn, whose voice we have just heard. The lights of the San Francisco skyline fill the huge picture windows.
Mark?
Mark looks up at her.
We're done for the day.
Yeah. I was just sitting here.
What happened to Sean?
He still owns 7% of the company. All you had all day was that salad. You want to get something to eat?
I can't.
I'm not a bad guy.
I know that. When there's emotional testimony, I assume 85% of it is exaggeration.
And the other 15%?
Perjury. Creation myths need a devil.
What happens now?
Cy and the others are having a steak on University Avenue. Then they'll come back up to the office and start working on a settlement agreement to present to you.
They're gonna settle?
Oh, yeah. And you're going to have to pay a little extra
Why?
so that these guys sign a non-disclosure agreement. They say one unflattering word about you in public and you own their wife and kids.
I invented Facebook.
I'm talking about a jury. I specialize in voir dire, jury selection. Come on, Chad. And what the jury sees when they look at the defendant: clothes, hair, speaking style, likability.
Likability?
I've been licensed to practice law for all of 20 months, and I could get a jury to believe you planted the story about Eduardo and the chicken. Watch what else. Why weren't you at Sean's sorority party that night?
You think I'm the one who called the police?
Doesn't matter. I asked the question, and now everybody's thinking about it. You've lost your jury in the first 10 minutes.
Farm animals?
Yeah,
I was drunk and angry and stupid
and blogging.
and blogging.
Pay them. In the scheme of things, it's a speeding ticket. That's what Cy will tell you tomorrow.
Do you think anybody would mind if I stayed and used the computer for a minute?
I can't imagine it would be a problem.
Thanks. I appreciate your help today.
You're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying so hard to be.
Marilyn, who's been putting on her coat, takes her briefcase and exits. Mark sits down at the computer. He logs on to Facebook. He types a name in the search box: Erika Albright. Erika's name and picture come up along with Boston University 07. Mark smiles. She's on Facebook. He moves the mouse back and forth between two boxes: send a message and add a friend. He clicks on add a friend. A box comes up that reads, your request to add Erika Albright as a friend has been sent. Then Mark clicks on his homepage and waits for the response. And waits. Then hits refresh. Title: Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss received a settlement of $65 million and signed a non-disclosure agreement. They rode for the US Olympic team in Beijing and placed 6th. Mark is still waiting, then hits refresh. Eduardo Saverin received an unknown settlement. His name has been restored to the Facebook masthead as a co-founder. Mark is settling into his chair. He'll wait all night if he has to. Facebook has 500 million members in 207 countries. It's currently valued at $25 billion. Mark Zuckerberg is the youngest billionaire in the world. Mark waits and waits, and we snap to black. Roll main title.
Good job, guys. That was an awesome read. You guys did a great job.
Hooray.
Woo! Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.